Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto becomes captain of Gotei 13 Bleach Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for Part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. It was just as the priestess Cheyenne had predicted. Uzumaki Naruto was pierced in the chest by the tail of the beast, killing the boy and the legendary Kyuubi no Yak, which was sealed inside of his body. With the passing of his physical body, Naruto's soul emerged from his dead corpse, scanning the area in confusion as a man wearing an shahakusho with a long sword sheathed at his side stepped from the shadows and beckoned Naruto to follow him. Naruto looked back at his teammates, and knew that they had no idea that he was actually standing right in front of them, each of them grieving over his supposed death. As he watched his teammates crowd around his corpse, he knew that his time on Earth had expired. He turned away from the scene and walked up next to the mysterious man, the man unsheathing his sword as Naruto put his hands up in the air in protest. The man flashed Naruto a kind smile as he turned his sword around and held the heel up to Naruto's forehead. The heel began to glow softly as Naruto suddenly felt a peaceful sensation, his soul feeling complete tranquility as the heel touched his forehead, Naruto's soul body beginning to glow spectacularly. He closed his eyes as he let the light take him away from the earth and away from the people he loved. He knew that his time on Earth had come to an end, and now he must embark on a new journey, a journey to a place that knew nothing but peace, or so the shinobi thought. The Soul Society shall become your new home, the man in the shahakusho whispered softly as Naruto opened his eyes and looked at the man with a peaceful smile. What are you? He asked softly as the man gave him another kind smile. I am a Shinigami, the man replied as the console was finally complete. Enjoy your time in the afterlife. You have earned the right to enter the Soul Society. As these words were spoken by the man, Naruto disappeared, turning into a bright white light as he was taken to another place. Far from Earth itself, Naruto was taken away, his memories erased, and placed into a place called Rakangai. Area 78, a place that focused on the brutal lifestyle that humans were condemned to on Earth. The area was poor, ragged, and crime was at an all-time high, a place that resided in a place that was supposed to be considered heaven in the eyes of beings. Some would say otherwise to this ludicrous term. One of those people would be Uzumaki Naruto, a citizen of Area 78 for as long as he could remember. Every day was a nightmare, having to endure the hardships of hunger that came with the conditions of the town. Naruto couldn't remember ever having a good day, never able to relax and live his life in a stable environment. Until the day that he met a woman that would help him countless times in his teenage as well as in his adult life. This woman was Kuchiki Rukia, a girl that he had met in a desperate situation. The day had begun like every other day. As Naruto and Abarai Rinji stood by the small fruit cart, Rinji looked over at Naruto with a worried look as Naruto flashed him a reassuring smile. Do you think we should do this, man? Rinji whispered in a terrified tone as Naruto gave him a teasing smile in response. Why, are you scared, cherry head? Naruto teased as Rinji looked at him with his face red as a tomato. And no, Rinji stuttered as he gave Naruto a courageous smile response. I'm ready when you are, Blondie. Alright, grab on 3 then, Naruto said as he looked up at the fruit cart that loomed before them. 3, 2, 1. Naruto and Rinji jumped up quickly and swiped 3 of the ripe apples that sat on the cart, the merchant looking back in surprise as he went chasing after them briskly. Stop those thieves! The merchant roared angrily as Rinji and Naruto swayed through the crowd of people, dodging several people's hands. As they did this, another merchant stepped forward and stopped the two dead in their tracks. The merchant grinned darkly as he pulled his hand back to attack the young teens. Suddenly, a young girl with short black hair that hung off her slim shoulders with a bang that hung perfectly down her face appeared, kicking the merchant in the shins with a quick sweep kick. The merchant fell to the ground quickly, the girl grabbing Naruto and Rinji's hands. Come on, follow me! The girl shouted as she dragged the two boys away, Rinji and Naruto looking at each other in unison as they were dragged by the spunky girl. She led them through a small alleyway as they ran up a flight of stairs and into a small, comfortable-looking room. The girl closed the door behind them, Naruto and Rinji sitting on the floor as the girl sat in front of them, looking at them with a bright smile as she did. Thanks for Naruto began as the girl cleared her throat loudly. What the heck were you two idiots thinking going out in the open and stealing food like that? The girl interrupted. Naruto sighed as he looked up at the girl with his signature grin. Wow, I didn't know that I had a mom now, Naruto joked as the girl looked up at him with a frustrated expression. Maybe if you gave me an allowance I wouldn't have to steal now, would I? You could have been killed, the girl insisted. Who are you guys anyway? I'm Uzumaki Naruto and this is my lifelong pal Abarai Rinji, Naruto said as he pointed to Rinji, who looked away with an embarrassed look. So, who are you, mystery girl? I'm Rukia, the girl replied with a smile as she held out her hand. Naruto taking it and shaking it softly. So, how long have you guys lived here in Area 78? I've been here for longer than I can remember, Naruto answered as he looked up at the ceiling. I always feel like I once lived somewhere else, somewhere that I could truly call home. Yeah, but he's an idiot, Renji quickly interrupted as Naruto looked at him with an annoyed look. So, I guess we all have been living here for a while, huh? I guess so, Rukia replied uncertainly. So do you live here by yourself? Naruto asked as he looked around the bare room. No, it's just me and these two children that I take care of, Rukia replied as she looked outside. I should actually be going to get them about now. Those two remind me of you, always getting in trouble. We will come with you, Renji offered as Rukia shrugged in response. Do as you like, Rukia answered as she dusted off her colorful kimono from sitting on the floor. She stood up and headed out the door, Naruto and Renji following behind her. They walked around the crowded town as they searched for the two children. These kids got names? Naruto asked as he scratched his blonde hair. Maybe we can call them out or something. I have been meaning to give them names actually, Rukia replied as she looked around the area intensely. But I want to give them the perfect names, so I haven't chosen anything just yet. As they continued to walk around the barren town, they spotted a small crowd gathering up ahead near the waterfront. What's going on here? Naruto asked as he poked another teenager on the back as the boy pointed ahead to a man in an all-black kimono was standing ahead, his sword drawn to two young children who were cowering in fear of the man. A Shinigami? Renji choked out as Naruto and Rukia eyed the Shinigami with awe. You shall pay the ultimate price for your insolence. The man boomed loudly as he lifted up his sword. Rukia watched this with widened eyes as she rushed through the crowd and jumped onto the man's arm, making the man fall back a bit. What the hell is wrong with you? Rukia screamed as the man chuckled darkly, glancing back at the girl attached to his arm. Get out my way, bitch! The man screamed as he slapped Rukia away and lifted his sword up once again, this time in Rukia's direction. He slammed the sword into the ground, the sword making a sick crack as it hit the ground, smoke showering the area. Renji gasped in horror as he looked over at Naruto, who had disappeared. He then looked over at the area covered in smoke and seeing Naruto holding the man's blade with one hand, looking at the man with a dark grin. Naruto's normal blue orbs were now blood red, his body covered in a red aura. Behind him, Rukia laid on the ground with a stunned look as the area was covered in an intense amount of soul pressure, enough to keep Rukia on the ground. Naruto began to grip the sword harder, blood trickling down his arm as the blade began to crack from the pressure of Naruto's power. The man gasped as his blade was shattered, Naruto then slamming his fist into the man's chest, knocking him on his back. Never hurt two innocent children again. Naruto muttered as he turned away, his aura disappearing and his eyes returning to normal. The man looked up from the ground as Rukia motioned for the children to follow her. How the hell did you do that, Naruto? Renji asked as they all walked back to Rukia's house. That was amazing. I could barely stand with all of the soul pressure that was coming from you. You defeated a Shinigami. As Renji went on about Naruto's courage and power, Naruto looked down at his bloody hand and began to wonder the same thing. How the hell did I do that? Do you think this is over? The Shinigami roared as he placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder, dragging the boy toward him, his other hand reaching for the sword that he had fell out his hand during his previous scuffle with Naruto. Naruto tried to squirm away, but the man's grip was like iron. Renji looked at the man angrily, not about to allow his best friend to be attacked. As Renji ran in with his eyes closed to attack the Shinigami, Rukia also followed, racing past Renji. She retrieved the sword before the Shinigami could grasp it, using all her strength to toss the sword to the other side of the dirt street. Renji continued to scream as he gave the Shinigami a headbutt to the chest, which caused him to release Naruto, who glanced back with a grin as he cracked his knuckles menacingly. Looks like you didn't learn the first time. Naruto roared as he punched the Shinigami in the face with all his might, spit flying out the Shinigami's mouth as the right side of his face caved in from Naruto's all-out attack. The Shinigami stumbled backwards, Rukia kneeling behind him, which caused him to trip, falling to his back. We did it! Naruto cheered as he gave Renji a high five, then turning and giving Rukia a hug, who was quite surprised, but graciously accepted it. Wait, this might not be over, Naruto, Renji choked out as he backed away, pointing ahead. Naruto glanced in the direction Renji was pointing, 3 Shinigami walking up to the scene. You must come with us, one of the men said as they pointed their swords at the young heroes. The child with the blonde hair, you are the one with the spiritual pressure. Spiritual pressure? I was just protecting kids that needed help. Naruto protested as one of the 3 men placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder. Please, I didn't mean to do this. He attacked us first. That is enough, He is not the issue, one of the men stated as he looked at Naruto with a serious expression. You have great power, and you will become a fine addition to Gotei 13 if you can pass the necessary tests. I'm becoming a Shinigami? Naruto asked with widened eyes as all of the men nodded. If you are able to pass the exams, you will be allowed to join one of the 13 court guard squads, one of the men explained. With your high spiritual pressure, you will most likely gain a very high seat. Naruto Rinji said as he looked at his best friend with tears beginning forming in his eyes. Does this mean I won't see you again? Nah, of course not, Rinji, Naruto replied with a grin as he gave his friend a thumbs up. I want you to train hard and be on my squad with me, okay? I'll be the captain, and you can be my lieutenant, okay? Ha, it will be the other way around, Naruto, Rinji replied with a grin as he gave his friend a high five, wiping the tears away with the sleeve of his shirt. And you can be my third seat, okay, Rukia? Naruto said as he looked at Rukia with a broad grin. Rukia looked back at him with a sad smile, her heart fluttering a bit as she looked at the boy. Something about him made her smile, she didn't know what it was. I will be honored, Naruto, Rukia replied as she went up and wrapped him in a warm hug, Naruto looking surprised but hugging back as well. Thank you for saving us, the little boy and girl exclaimed as they ran up and Naruto gave them both hugs. Please come visit us and Rukia, okay? I promise you that I will, Naruto answered as he patted them both on the head. Okay, it's time to go, kid, one of the men stated as Naruto gave one final wave to his friends as he was escorted out of Area 78. Rukia and Rinji watched him leave, both of them having dreams of becoming Shinigami so they could see their friend once again. Many Shinigami years later. As Naruto walked into the Gotei 13 meeting room, sweat rolled down his neck as he nervously stood in front of all the captains of the Gotei 13. He had been called into the room to unleash his Shurikai for everyone to see, even the head captain. It was like a test, the results giving Naruto the ability to receive a high seat in whichever squad he was chosen for. Begin the final test. The head captain Yamamoto bellowed as Naruto unsheathed his sword in response. Call out the name of your blade and show us its true power. As Naruto unleashed his soul pressure, the room became pitch black as a gigantic red fox demon appeared in front of him, grinning broadly as it looked at Naruto. It has been a while, you little whelp, the fox said as Naruto looked up at it with awe. Do you remember who I am? Have I met you before? Naruto asked as the demon chuckled, looking at Naruto with an amused grin. We were very close in your previous lifetime, the fox replied as Naruto began to see images flash through his head. Do you know who I am now, Uzumaki Naruto? Then say my name and allow our bodies and souls to connect once again. Kyubi-Akuma! Naruto screamed as his body began to give off a red aura, the demon laughing maniacally as Naruto's sword transformed, the blade now longer and covered in 9 ridges along the front of the blade. It also had a red gleam to it, the sword glowing a magnificent red aura itself. The captain stood in shock of the power of the blade, Naruto's soul pressure filling the room. Impressive, the head captain stated as he looked at the blonde-haired man. This power is massive. As the captains of the Gotei 13 marveled at the magnificent spiritual power that Naruto possessed, it came down to the head captain Shigekuni Yamamoto Genryosai to decide whether Naruto would be able to enter the Gotei 13 and what position he would take. As Naruto was guided out of the room by a lieutenant, the 13 captains gathered together and stood in 2 separate lines as Shigekuni Yamamoto Genryosai sat down in his usual seat in the middle of the room, contemplating this deeply. Uzumaki Naruto, Shigekuni Yamamoto Genryosai began as he leaned on his cane. This is one of the most interesting cases that I have seen in the history of the Shinigami Academy. To think that such a powerful Zanpakuto could lie dormant in such a boy is astounding by none the least. Now it comes down to the decision of which squad he would be assigned to. His level of strength when his blade transforms is captain level by itself. But the aura that covered his blade worries me quite a bit. It seems vile, almost evil as it emerged. As you all are aware of, there are a few Zanpakutos similar to this in the Soul Society. But none has had the raw power that has been displayed in Uzumaki Naruto. We must all keep our eye on this boy, for if he has an evil Zanpakuto, it will surely try to corrupt him. Which squad would be best suited to do this task? I feel that my squad would be sufficient, sir, Hitsugaya Toshiro stated as Soifan turned slightly and looked in his direction. He would be able to take the 3rd seat if allowed, sir. I know I am still quite new and young, but so is Uzumaki Naruto. Perhaps we can find level ground in that fact. A fine position for a child fresh out of the academy, Soifan commented brutally as she looked straight ahead. That is quite I don't think position to place a boy we're not sure of. Plus, I don't think that Captain Hitsugaya, respectfully, can handle Uzumaki Naruto. I just don't think that would be appropriate for this child to obtain such a seat after such. Enough. Shigekuni Yamamoto Genryusai shouted loudly as Soifan silenced herself immediately. He shall receive the seat on Squad 10 on a probationary basis at this time. I am putting you, Captain Hitsugaya, in charge of this boy for the time being. And since you seem so vocal on the seat he is receiving, you, Captain Soifan, shall be in charge of watching him as well during his probationary period and giving me daily reports on his progress. This meeting is over. Yes, sir. All of the captains replied as they walked out of the room. As the captains walked out of the meeting room, Naruto stood outside, waiting for the verdict of the Gotei 13. Toshiro stopped in front of Naruto as he walked outside, looking up at Naruto with his usual serious look. Welcome to Squad 10, Uzumaki Naruto, Toshiro stated as Naruto looked at him with widened eyes, a smile spreading across the blonde Shinigami's face. I shall be your captain, Hitsugaya Toshiro. You shall be taking the third seat of my squad on a probationary period. If you are able to keep up with your duties as a Shinigami, you may be promoted to a higher seat or even a captain in the nearby future. Wow, you are like 13. Naruto exclaimed as Toshiro looked up at him with an annoyed glance. I got a kid for a captain. How cool is that? Shut the hell up. Toshiro shouted as he closed his eyes in aggravation. Never speak to your captain in such a manner again. Wow, you are way too serious, man, Naruto observed as Toshiro closed his eyes and tried not to flip out on the newcomer. You sound like you are going to be total drag, to be honest. I hate him already, Toshiro thought as he walked away, rubbing his temples in a circular motion. Soifan stopped as she turned and watched Toshiro walk away. She then turned and looked over at Naruto as she watched him rub his stomach and head back to his barracks. There is something about this kid I don't trust, Soifan thought as she gave him one more cynical look and walked away. I will make sure that he doesn't keep that position. As Naruto returned to his barracks, he stopped and looked up at the clear blue sky with a thoughtful smile. He picked up a small pebble and began to roll it around in his palm as he heard a familiar voice around the corner of his barracks. Rukia, come on, you know my Kido grades suck. A voice screamed as Naruto looked over at the area he heard the voice with widened eyes. You have to help me with my Kido spells. No way, Naruto thought as he dropped the pebble and ran over to the area he heard the voices coming from. He stopped as he saw Rukia and Rinji, both dressed in the Soul Reaper Academy outfit, arguing loudly about something. Naruto just stood there and stared with widened eyes as Rinji turned and looked at Naruto with an annoyed look. What the hell do you want? Rinji asked as Naruto smiled broadly. You were being a little loud next to my barracks cadets, Naruto replied in a fake deep voice as he walked up to Rinji and looked him in the eye. I am the third seat of Squad 10 and I want to know who both of you are. My apologies, sir, I am Kachiki Rukia and this is Abarai Rinji, Rukia replied as she bowed. We will move our conversation to another area. I don't think I will allow that, Naruto interrupted with a grin. As your future captain, you should learn to respect me, don't you think? Just who in the hell do you think you are? Rinji asked angrily as Rukia looked at Naruto with a skeptical look. She then gasped as she began to piece things together. This mysterious man was tall, over 5 feet 11 inches with blonde hair that was long on the sides and short in the back, wearing an all-black Shinigami Shihakusho with the sleeves ripped off at the shoulders. His Zanpakuto was sheathed on his back, his clear blue eyes playfully looking at Rukia with a silly grin on his face. He had the same 3 lines across the sides of his cheeks, like whiskers. Uzumaki Naruto, Rukia announced as Rinji looked at Naruto with widened eyes. I can't believe it. Naruto? Rinji asked as he blinked continuously. He walked up and gave Naruto a firm hug, Naruto giving him a hug back as tears streamed down Rukia's cheek. Naruto! Rukia exclaimed as she hugged him as well, Naruto beginning to tear up himself now. Look at Mr. Blondie now, Rinji said as he patted Naruto on the shoulder. Got himself a sword and an outfit, you really did it, huh? Yup, I just passed the final test not even 10 minutes ago, Naruto replied with a smile. I have been wishing to see you guys for so long. How are the kids, Rukia? They didn't make it after you left, Naruto, Rukia replied as she looked down at the ground. That Soul Reaper caught them and executed them on the spot. What? Naruto stammered as he looked at Rinji, who was looking down as well. He wasn't a normal Shinigami, he was a monster, Rinji said as Rukia wiped her eyes and forced a smile upon her face. But I'm just happy that we are reunited, Naruto, Rukia said with a fake smile. It's been so many years. So you are part of the Kachiki family now? Naruto interrupted as he seen that Rukia was upset. It must be awesome to be part of one of the noble families. Yes, it's great, Rukia replied quietly. I was adopted and taken away from my old home and old friends. Wait, then Rinji was Naruto began as Rinji looked away, looking slightly uncomfortable. All alone, he finished as he looked up into the sky. But that's okay, cause I knew that this day would come one day. Naruto Uzumaki. A voice shouted behind them as a beautiful woman who was very well endowed walked up to Naruto and gave him a dazzling smile. Hi, I'm your Lieutenant Matsumoto Ranjaku, the woman said as she looked at a small clipboard in her hand. So you are the new guy on the squad, huh? That is me, Naruto exclaimed happily as he looked at Ranjaku. I can already tell that we are going to be great. What is that smell? Ranjaku asked as she held her nose and made a face. Is that coming from your barracks? What if I said it was? Naruto asked nervously as Ranjaku pointed to his barracks with her free hand. Clean that damn room and report in, alright? Ranjaku replied as she rushed away, actually running from the stench. And I thought my room was bad. Same old Naruto, Rinji remarked as he gave Naruto a broad grin. We'll catch you later, okay? Rukia is about to help me with Kido anyways. Do it yourself, Rinji, Rukia replied as Naruto watched his friends walk away, arguing with each other as they were not even a few minutes ago. Naruto walked up to his room and looked inside, his bed unmade and his floor covered in empty ramen cups, some still full, and bottles of different beverages. He held his nose promptly as he walked into the room and sighed. Welcome to the life of a Shinigami, Naruto sighed as he picked up the food. Many years later. After being the third seat in Squad 10 for several years, Naruto was bored out of his mind. He was never able to participate in big missions. Usually he was confined to his barracks and told to stay out of trouble, which he didn't do to Toshiro's dismay. And not to mention that he was always being followed by the Squad 2 captain, Soi Fan. She never said a word to him, just looked at him with her usual unpleasant stare. As he thought about this and lay down against the wooden floor of the Squad 4 meeting area, he sighed in dismay. Naruto, what the hell are you doing? Toshiro shouted as he walked into the meeting area and caught Naruto napping. You are supposed to be mopping the floor in here. Why the hell am I mopping floors if I'm the third seat of Squad 10? Naruto asked as Toshiro shrugged with an annoyed look. We don't ask question, we do what the captain says, Toshiro replied as Ranjaku walked in, yawning loudly. And where the hell have you been all day? Come on, relax, Captain, Ranjaku said as she sat down on the floor. It's not even a big deal, you need to learn how to relax a bit. I'm fine, Toshiro answered stubbornly as he looked down at the floor. Naruto, did you mop this floor before you slept on it? Sure, Naruto lied as he stretched out some more. So, any new missions, Toshiro? Damn it, my name is Captain Hitsugai to you, Toshiro shouted as he looked away. Look, I actually do have a mission for you. The mission is a basic mission. You will accompany another Shinigami from the 13th Division down to Earth for a while. The Shinigami's name is Kuchiki Rukia. Rukia! Naruto exclaimed as he jumped up from the floor. I'm going to Earth with Rukia? Oh, someone seems happy, Ranjaku commented with a grin as Naruto turned away, blushing slightly. I'm just happy I'm getting a mission finally, Naruto replied as he kept a small smile on his face. So, when do I go, Toshiro? Get the hell out, Naruto, Toshiro sighed as he pointed to the door. Just go. See ya later, Ranjaku, Naruto shouted as he ran out the door. We should go to get a drink at a ramen bar when I get back. And oh, see you later too, Captain Toshiro. Damn you, Naruto! Toshiro shouted as he looked at Naruto leave with an aggravated look. Meanwhile on Earth, a 15-year-old male named Kurosaki Ichigo sighed as he sat at his desk in school, drumming his finger on his desk as he listened to his teacher go on about something that he really didn't give a damn about. He sighed once again as he raised his hand and asked to use the restroom. As he left the class, he sighed deeply as he walked to the bathroom, preparing to splash some water on his face. As he did, he walked into a young girl with blood all over her body, a deep gash across her chest as she walked up to Ichigo. So, another one, huh? Ichigo said as he looked at the girl. Let me guess, you need my help with something? Yes, I need to find my teddy bear, the girl replied as she looked up at Ichigo with an innocent smile. Can you please help me? Yeah, I guess I have no choice, you being a ghost and all, Ichigo answered as he scratched the back of his head. Wow, I feel like the ghost whisperer sometimes. Who is that? The little girl asked as Ichigo waved off the comment and motioned for her to follow him. So where did you leave your teddy? Ichigo asked as he and the invisible ghost girl walked around the Karakura town. As he followed the girl around, a dark presence suddenly reared its ugly head, a hollow that was following Ichigo and the girl. The hollow roared, Ichigo stopping in surprise as he heard the roar of the beast. He turned around slowly as he looked at the beast in surprise. The young girl floated behind Ichigo, trembling in fear as Ichigo backed up, not knowing how to stop this beast. "Hey, ugly!" a voice shouted as the beast was kicked in the face by a blonde-haired teenager, wearing an all-black kimono as he rode the hollow into the ground and did a back flip off of its face. "What the hell?" Ichigo thought as he watched the boy unsheath a sword that was sheathed on his back. He held the sword out in front of him as the hollow rose from the ground. "Always the show-off," a voice mumbled behind Ichigo as Ichigo turned around and seen a short woman with jet black hair, wearing the same outfit as the blonde-haired boy. "Naruto, hurry up! We have to perform a kanso." "No problem, Rukia," Naruto shouted back as he brushed his hair from his eyes and ran at the hollow reaching down to grab Naruto. Naruto flash-stepped away, stepping only a few feet away, enough to avoid the grab. He then brought his sword down on the hollow's arm, the hollow screaming in pain as its arm was cut off clean. Ichigo watched this in amazement, not knowing what to say as he turned around and watched Rukia as she unsheathed her sword. "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" Ichigo screamed as he pushed Rukia away. "Are you trying to kill me?" "You can see me?" Rukia asked as she looked at Ichigo with a startled look. "But you are just a normal human." "I don't know what the hell you guys are trying to pull here, but this isn't right," Ichigo started as the hollow's scream interrupted him. Naruto was busy taking out the hollow, making it scream as it tried to attack him, but Naruto's speed was too great. He was able to dodge all of the hollow's attacks consecutively, giving him a killer edge against the beast. "Can you finish this?" Rukia shouted as Naruto sighed. "Fine," Naruto grumbled as his sword began to glow red. He jumped in the air above the hollow's head and brought his sword down, slicing the hollow in half like butter. The hollow faded away, Naruto grinning as he sheathed his sword and walked over to join Rukia with the dead girl and Ichigo. "All right, Kanso time," Naruto said as he turned his sword around. The heel of his sword began to glow as Naruto bent down and patted the girl on the head. "I'm about to send you to a more peaceful place than here, okay?" Naruto said as he pressed the heel of his sword against the girl's forehead. The girl was covered in a dazzling light as she faded away in the light. "What did you do to her?" Ichigo asked as he watched in amazement. "I sent her to the Soul Society," Naruto replied as he smiled. "Wait, how the hell can you see me?" "Because you are standing in front of me, idiot!" Ichigo shouted as Naruto and Rukia looked at each other in unison. "I don't care, let's get out of here!" Naruto shouted defiantly as he put his arms behind his head and walked away with his eyes closed. Rukia sighed as she followed, Ichigo just watching as they left the area. As Ichigo walked home, the image of the events that conspired earlier drifted through his head, none of it making absolutely no sense. As Ichigo shoved his hands in his pocket and tried to figure it out, the answer just kept coming back a question mark. "Two people with samurai gear fighting gigantic beasts," Ichigo said aloud as he walked up to the front door of his house. "Makes no goddamn sense at all." Ichigo fiddled in his pockets for a little while before finding his key and sticking it into the keyhole. As he opened the door, a man with spiky black hair jumped out at Ichigo, preparing to strike him. "You're late, boy," the man growled as he hit Ichigo in the head, Ichigo wrestling with the man with an annoyed look on his face. "Could you two stop?" a young girl complained as she sat at the kitchen table with another young girl about the same age. "The food is about to get cold." Ichigo's fault for being late, the man shouted as Ichigo pulled out of his iron grip and kicked the man away. "Damn it, Dad, do you have to attack me every time I get in the damn house?" Ichigo asked as he rubbed his shoulder. "So what happened, Strawberry?" the other girl at the table asked as she chewed on a small toothpick. "Had to go on a little Ghostbuster trip?" "Yeah, but this one was a little strange." Ichigo started as his dad walked over and got into Ichigo's face, looking at him with a skeptical look. "Where the hell were you at, boy?" Ishin asked as Ichigo looked at him with an annoyed stare. "I was helping a young girl find peace," Ichigo shouted as Ishin tried to grab Ichigo again, Ichigo slipping away from the attack and kicking his dad away once again. "Wow, I can't stand this house sometimes." Ichigo picked up his backpack that had fallen during the commotion and slugged it on his back as he went to his room and slammed the door. "What was that about, Yuzu?" Ishin asked his youngest daughter as she watched Ichigo leave. "He had a hard time, and you picked on him, Daddy," Yuzu shouted as she hit Ishin with the ladle that was in her hand. "He started it," Ishin replied childishly as his second daughter, Karen, sighed. "This is such a weird house," she said as she opened up a book that sat on the table. As Naruto and Rukia walked around the town, Naruto walked around the area with awe, looking at every building and sign that they passed during the walk. "Can you give it a rest, Naruto?" Rukia asked as she looked at Naruto with a small smile. "You act as if you have never been here before." "It's just that every time I visit this place, I get so excited, Naruto said with a gleam in his eyes. This is such a wonderful planet. Rukia watched her best friend with a smile as a small pager began to go off. She pulled out a small cell phone and looked at it with a grim look. We have another hollow approaching, Rukia said as Naruto nodded. Damn, why are they coming out like this? Naruto asked as Rukia thought about the boy that they met earlier. A human with the ability to see ghosts, something that no Shinigami has yet to see until today. Rukia shook off the thoughts as her and Naruto rushed from the scene to meet up with the hollow. Ichigo laid inside his bed and looked up at the ceiling with a thoughtful expression as he suddenly felt the presence of something near him. Hello? Ichigo said as he looked around the dark room, not able to see much at all. Ichigo got up from his bed slowly and reached for a baseball bat that laid up against his bedpost. He picked it up and gripped it tightly as he watched two dark figures jump into his room from the window. It should be arriving soon, a voice said as Ichigo turned on the light near his door, Naruto and Rukia standing in the middle of his room. You too! Ichigo shouted as he pointed his bat at them. Just who in the hell are you guys? Robbers? You want to rob me or something? You guys old school samurai? Start talking. Wow, he thinks we are old school samurai, Naruto said to Rukia as he giggled. This guy is an idiot. You are honestly one to talk, Naruto, Rukia replied as she walked up to Ichigo. Listen to me, we are not robbers or samurai. We are Shinigami, also called soul reapers. We send the souls of the dead to what you humans would consider heaven. We also have a second mission as well though. We also serve to kill monsters like you saw earlier, which are called hollows. So why did the order say it was here? Naruto asked as he looked around the room. I don't see any hollows. Getting to that, Rukia said as she turned and looked at Naruto with a shut the hell up and let me finish look. We think that the hollow is here, and it is. Before Rukia could finish, blood-curdling screams were heard from outside of Ichigo's room. Yuzu! Karen! Ichigo shouted as he headed for the door. Back away from the door! Rukia screamed as Ichigo ignored her and headed for the door. No choice. Rukia shouted as she pointed at Ichigo and casted a Kido spell, the spell making Ichigo fall to the floor, stiff as a board. What the hell did you do to me? Ichigo choked out as Naruto put his foot on top of Ichigo's back and looked down at his face. She used the Kido spell on you because you were about to go and get yourself killed, Naruto replied as Ichigo began to struggle even more. Don't struggle, you won't be able to escape from that no matter how hard you struggle. You are just being a burden to us, so stay quiet and let us do our job, okay? Ichigo looked up at Naruto with a desperate look as Rukia looked at Naruto in surprise, his seriousness startling her. Naruto took his foot off Ichigo's back as Ichigo's door opened slowly, Karen crawling into the room with blood trickling down her forehead. Ichigo, Karen stuttered as she looked at her brother with a sad expression. It hit us so quickly that we couldn't even stop it. Dad's back just exploded and he fell to the floor, but I'm glad you are okay, Ichigo. As Karen choked this out, she fainted. Ichigo looked at his sister with widened eyes as he began to struggle from the spell once again, this time his body actually beginning to move. What the hell? Rukia said as she looked at the boy struggle. He can't possibly. Ichigo gave a battle cry as he broke the Kido spell, looking up at Naruto as he grabbed the bat and walked out of the room. Son of a bitch, Naruto said with a grin as he followed Ichigo. I like this guy. Rukia and Naruto followed Ichigo quickly as they spotted the hollow, trying to devour Ishin's soul. Step off my dad! Ichigo shouted as he ran at the hollow, Naruto and Rukia looking at each other in unison as he did. As the hollow looked up, it gave an eerie grin as it dropped Ishin and prepared to grab Ichigo in its jaw when Ichigo edged closer. Ichigo began to shout as he got in range, the hollow biting down quickly. As he did, Naruto and Rukia jumped in front of the attack, Naruto taking the most damage and Rukia's arm was completely shot by the attack. Why would you? Ichigo asked with widened eyes as Naruto turned around and looked at him with a determined grin, his eyes turned blood red. I just can't stand there and let you kill yourself like an idiot, Naruto shouted as he winced from the pain. You can't just rush into a situation like this armed with guts, kid. You got to use your smarts as well. As Naruto said this, he closed his eyes and fell to the ground from his injuries. Rukia pulled her injured arm from the hollow's mouth as she leaned against the wall, blood all over her kimono. You said your name was Ichigo, right? Rukia asked as she looked up at Ichigo. Come here, I need to discuss something with you. What the hell are we going to do? Ichigo asked as he leaned down and looked at Rukia straight in the eyes. Well, I'm afraid my arm is done, so I'm not going to be able to fight the hollow, Rukia explained as she looked at her bad arm. I'm going to need you to do something now. I need you to become a soul reaper like me and Naruto. How would I do something like that? Ichigo asked as Rukia picked up her sword from next to her. In order to become a soul reaper, I would need to stab you in the heart, Rukia replied as Ichigo looked at her with widened eyes. If it is successful, you will gain the powers of a Shinigami. If not, you will die. What will you choose? Ichigo didn't reply immediately, looking up at the ceiling and thinking about his sisters and his father. Well, I don't like the idea, Ichigo answered as he cracked his knuckles. But after you and you friends sacrificing yourself for me and my family? I'd have to be a real to not try to save you guys. Give me the blade, Soul Reaper. Not Soul Reaper, Rukia replied. Kachiki Rukia. Ichigo Kurosaki, Ichigo answered with a smile. Hopefully this won't be our final meeting, huh? Rukia nodded with a smile as Ichigo stabbed himself in the heart, the room filling with a brilliant light. After the light faded, Ichigo stood there, wearing an all-black kimono along with a gigantic sword sheathed on his back. All of my power has been drained, Rukia thought as she sat there and looked at the boy in awe. But what is this boy? And never have I seen a blade that large. It's over, Ichigo said in a low voice as the hollow tried to attack him, Ichigo pulling out his blade and slicing the hollow's face as it attacked. The hollow screamed in pain as it vaporized. Ichigo stood there valiantly, the wind blowing as he stood there in the night. As Ichigo's eyes opened, his first instinct was fear. After the night that Ichigo endured, he had no idea what was occurring around him. He jumped up from his bed quickly as he scanned the room, observing that everything was normal. His window was open, the wind blowing his curtains softly as the morning sun bathed the room in sunlight. Ichigo took a deep breath as he jumped from bed, slipped on a pair of slippers from under his bed, and headed out the room. Good morning, Ichigo! A voice screamed as Isshin appeared out of nowhere, trying to attack Ichigo in his usual fashion. But this time Ichigo was ready, stopping the attack in midair by crossing his arms across his chest and rejecting the midair kick from his father. What the hell? Isshin said as he looked in disbelief. You stopped my screw kick with ease? You are getting good, boy. Yeah, and now back OFF. Ichigo shouted as he punched his father away, his father hitting the wall with a silly expression on his face. How the hell are you up and moving after everything that occurred last night? Why, what happened last night? Isshin asked with a confused expression as Ichigo stared back at him with widened eyes. Ichigo pushed past Isshin and wandered into the kitchen, Yuzu standing at the stove making breakfast as Karen sat at the table staring at an empty plate. Yuzu, can you hurry the hell up? Karen complained as she continued to stare at her plate. Hi Ichigo, are you hungry? Yuzu asked as she turned to Ichigo and ignored Karen. Hey, do you guys know what happened last night? Ichigo asked as Karen and Yuzu gave him a confused look. What the hell is going on? What the hell? Isshin screamed in the other room as Ichigo and his sisters rushed in, Isshin staring at a giant hole in the living room wall. When the hell did this happen? Probably last night, smart guy, Karen replied sarcastically as she examined the hole. Looks like a truck just plowed into the house. As his family stood and discussed this situation, Ichigo stood in the middle of the room with his mouth open wide, not knowing what to say. His mind drifted back to the image of the two Shinigami, Naruto and Rukia. What the hell is going on here? Ichigo thought as he scratched the back of his head. Where did those Soul Reapers go? The previous night. As Naruto awoke from unconsciousness, the first thing he spotted was the newly born Shinigami, Kurosaki Ichigo, finishing off the hollow that almost killed him. Naruto watched quietly, not saying a word or indicating that he was awake as he looked over at Rukia, who was still injured and leaning against the wall. He seen that Rukia was wearing what seemed like a white robe, meaning that she was stripped of her powers. As usual, Naruto decided to jump into the situation and not think it out, contradicting himself completely from what he told Ichigo earlier. He reached down and retrieved his sword from the ground, turning it around so that the heel was in the front. He then lifted his sword and slammed the heel into the back of Ichigo's head, Ichigo getting knocked out and crumbling to the ground from the blow. Naruto turned his sword around and prepared to strike once again as Rukia made an almost unheard scream. Naruto turned around slowly as he looked at Rukia, who still seemed to be in imminent danger from her previous injuries. Naruto, what the hell are you doing? Rukia whispered as Naruto sheathed his sword and picked her up from the ground. Hold on, okay? Naruto said as he positioned her on his back, Rukia holding on to Naruto's shoulders. What the hell were you thinking, giving your powers to that kid? Do you know what everyone is going to say? It was our only chance of survival, Rukia replied in a low voice as she looked back at Ichigo. We can't just leave this place like this, we need to get you some help. I'm taking you back to the Soul Society, Naruto interrupted as he jumped from the hole in the living room to the ground. We can't sit here and deal with this and with your injuries. Seems like you can use a bit of help, a voice said in the dark behind Naruto and Rukia. Naruto turned quickly as a man wearing a green and white striped hat with an all-black jacket stood by a pole, smiling at Naruto. Who are you? Naruto asked suspiciously as the man took off his hat and took a bow. Urahara Kisuke at your service, the man replied with a grin now. It seems like you could both use a jigai, huh? A jigai? Rukia asked as she looked at the man with an interested look. I have heard of those. They are able to make a Shinigami able to be seen by humans and hollows not able to sense their spiritual pressure. Yes, something every Soul Reaper in your position should have at his or her disposal, am I right? Kisuke asked as Naruto looked at him with a skeptical look. Have I ever seen you before? Naruto asked as he observed the man. You seem to know a little too much about Soul Reapers, and I swear that I have seen you before. You do bring up a point, Rukia replied as she started to look at the man with a questionable stare as well. Me? I'm just an ordinary guy that makes a living selling Soul Reaper gear to those who require it, Kisuke replied mysteriously. Now let us go to my shop and get you both a jigai to use for the time being that you are on this planet. This will be on me, so don't worry. This guy doesn't seem like he is on the up and up, Naruto whispered to Rukia as he followed Kisuke down the street. I could have sworn I have seen this guy before. Don't worry about it right now, Rukia whispered back. We need those jigai if we want to survive. If I get a jigai, I should be able to heal and recover my powers by the time we are supposed to return to the Soul Society, hopefully. Doesn't it take months for that to happen? Naruto asked as Rukia looked up at the night sky, not saying a word. Naruto sighed as he looked up as well as the moon shined on the two friends. You know that Toshiro is gonna be up my ass about this, right? Naruto asked as Rukia looked at him with a small smile. But I can't just leave a powerless Soul Reaper by herself now, can I? Thank you, Naruto, Rukia replied as Naruto turned away, a smile appearing on his face. I will never forget this. Hurry up if you want to go back and fix that situation. Kisuke shouted up ahead as Naruto picked up the pace. As Ichigo arrived at the school, he sighed loudly as he walked up to his locker and opened the door slowly. Hey Ichigo! A voice said as Arisawa Tatsuki and Inoue Oriheim walked up to him, together as usual. Tatsuki, Oriheim, Ichigo replied as he pulled his book from his locker and slammed the door shut. What's up? Hi Ichigo, Oriheim said quietly as she blushed a bit. So what happened at your house, Ichigo? Tatsuki asked as she walked up to her locker and shoved some books inside. I heard that your house got hit by a truck or something. Everyone okay? Yeah, it happened in the middle of the night, so no one was hurt, Ichigo lied as he looked away. He wanted to say what really happened, but he didn't need everyone thinking he was crazy. So what period is this? Just in time for third, Tatsuki replied as she grabbed another book from her locker and closed the door. Well, I got to get going, see you later Ichigo. Bye Ichigo, Oriheim said as well as she followed Tatsuki, waving as she walked away. Ichigo waved back as he headed to class, walking in and taking a seat. He turned around as he seen his two friends, Asano Kigo and Kojima Mizuiro sitting behind him, messing around as usual. Hey Ichigo, we heard that you died last night. Kigo shouted as he spotted Ichigo, Ichigo sighing as he shook his head. Do I look dead, idiot? Ichigo asked as Mizuiro leaned in and pointed behind him. Did you meet? He started as the teacher cleared her throat and dropped a book on her desk. Okay guys, let's do some attendance here, she said as she began to read names off a clipboard. Okay, and we also have 2 transfer students joining us today. Their names are Uzumaki Naruto and Kichiki Rukia. As the teacher said this, a blonde-haired boy wearing the all-gray boys' school uniform, followed by a jet black-haired girl wearing the same outfit, walked into the room. Hi, I'm Uzumaki Naruto. I like ramen and sword fighting, playing pranks, and going to the ramen bar with my friend Ranjaku, Naruto introduced himself as Ichigo jumped from his seat, pointing at Rukia and Naruto with widened eyes and an open mouth. What the hell are you? Ichigo started as Rukia interrupted him. Hi, I'm Kichiki Rukia. I like to draw picture and read horror novels, Rukia said as Ichigo fell into his seat, shaking his head in disbelief. Wow, that Rukia girl is hot, right? Kigo whispered in Ichigo's ear as Ichigo didn't reply, still in shock. Okay class, we are going to be beginning with science, so open your books, the teacher began as Naruto opened the backpack slug on his back and tapped the teacher on the shoulder. I don't have a book, Naruto said as the teacher gave him a smile. That's fine, you and Rukia can share with Ichigo, the teacher replied as Rukia and Naruto walked up to Ichigo's desk, Ichigo looking at them in surprise. Why the hell are you at my school? Ichigo whispered loudly as Naruto and Rukia gave him a fake smile. Can I use your book, Ichigo? Rukia asked politely as she held out her hand, a message written on her palm. Shut the hell up and stop asking questions. Do not make a scene, idiot. Go outside in 5 minutes by the football field and we will explain everything. Ichigo looked up at Rukia after reading this with his forehead perspiring as he nodded slowly. Naruto and Rukia flashed him another fake smile as they both sat down and acted completely innocent. Why do I have a horrible feeling about this? Ichigo wondered as he put his head on the top of his desk. I think I might be screwed. As Ichigo walked onto the football field, Rukia and Naruto sat on top of the bleachers, Rukia sipping on a juice drink as Naruto ate a cup of ramen. You're kinda late, aren't you? Naruto asked as he used his chopsticks to swirl up the vegetables with his noodles. We said 5 minutes, and you come out an hour later. I couldn't just skip class, you know. Ichigo shouted as he took a seat next to Rukia, who seemed to be having trouble sticking the straw inside the juice box. Ichigo took the juice box from her and poked open the hole of the juice box with the straw. He handed it back to her as she stuck the straw in and took a long sip. So what the hell do you guys want? Ichigo asked impatiently as Naruto and Rukia looked at each other in unison. Well, for starters, Naruto said as Ichigo looked at him with a bewildered look. What the hell are you talking about? Ichigo asked as Rukia took another sip and took a deep breath of satisfaction. You are now a Soul Reaper due to the transfer of my power you last night, Rukia explained as Naruto ate his ramen. Thanks to you, I'm stuck here for the time being until I can actually become a Soul Reaper once again. I can only use a few Kido spells, so I'm basically useless. Anyway, Naruto and I will be personally teaching you how to become a Soul Reaper. You will be learning how to take out any hollow that comes at you. Also, he will teach you how to do Kanso and everything you need to know to be a Soul Reaper, okay? No, Ichigo replied. Look, I helped you guys out once, okay? But now you are asking me to give up my life and become some beast killer? Sorry, but that isn't me, so find someone else, okay? Look, you may have got my best friend in a lot of damn trouble just because she wanted to protect you and your family, Naruto growled as Ichigo looked away, pretending not to listen. You need to be a damn man and get your ass in your Shinigami outfit with your funky hair before I. No, he doesn't want to help Naruto, Rukia interrupted as she pulled a small glove from her pocket and pulled it over her right hand. So, we will go with this. Rukia slammed her hand into Ichigo's chin as Ichigo's Soul Reaper body popped out of his human body falling to the ground. Ichigo looked down at his human body in shock, screaming as he pointed to his body. What the hell did you do to me? Ichigo shouted as Naruto looked at him with a grin. You are a Soul Reaper now, Ichigo, Naruto said as Ichigo looked at his uniform and felt the sword sheathed on his back. So what? I'm supposed to be like Spider-Man now and have great power and great responsibility or something? Ichigo asked as Naruto shook his head. Do as you wish, he replied as he stood up. Come on, follow me. Ichigo looked over at Rukia, who looked at him solemnly as Ichigo followed them off the football field. They walked up the street as a small park came into view, a young boy playing on a set of swings. It should be coming any time now, Rukia said as she looked at her soul pager. Wait, what are you talking about? Ichigo asked as Rukia and Naruto didn't reply. They watched the young boy in silence as a puddle nearby began to shake, as if an earthquake was coming. Ichigo turned around slowly as another hollow appeared out of nowhere, looking over at the boy hungrily as it went to feed. Ichigo turned and looked at Naruto and Rukia, who looked away as the hollow edged near the boy. Ichigo sighed loudly as he unsheathed his sword and started to run after the hollow. Naruto stepped forward and grabbed Ichigo's shoulder, preventing him from going forward. Where are you going? Naruto asked as Ichigo looked at him angrily. To save that kid, of course, Ichigo shouted as he tried to squirm out of Naruto's grip. Why? There are hundreds of kids like this that get devoured by hollows every day. What makes this kid special? Naruto asked as Ichigo looked at him with disbelief. Look, just being in the area and deciding to help isn't the way to be a Shinigami. You have to actually act when you are needed. Not just when it's convenient to you. Being a Shinigami is about sacrifice, Rukia continued as Naruto let go of Ichigo's shoulder. We Shinigami exist to do work like this, and we must dedicate ourselves to this at all costs. This is no joke, Ichigo. So make your choice. You can save this boy and become a Soul Reaper, or you can watch him get devoured and we will leave you alone. Ichigo didn't say a word as he ran over and tapped the hollow on the shoulder. The hollow turned slightly as Ichigo used his sword to push it away from the child, the boy crying as Ichigo held his sword at the hollow's face. Look, I don't know if I really want to do this, Ichigo said as he dodged an attack from the hollow. He rolled away as the hollow used both of its hands and slammed them in the area Ichigo rolling away. He cut the arm of the hollow off quickly, the hollow screaming as it used its other hand to try to attack Ichigo. But you guys sacrificed yourself for me and my family, Ichigo continued as he used his sword to block the attack. He rolled away and positioned himself for a counter-attack, the hollow taking the bait and attacking once more. But I'm not gonna sacrifice myself, I mean that isn't smart, Ichigo said as he threw his sword into the hollow's hand, the sword dragging the hollow's hand into the ground. You can't make a difference with anything if you go around sacrificing yourself every time you get into a jam, Ichigo continued as he pulled his sword out of the hollow's hand. He then pulled his sword back and stabbed the hollow in the face mask, the mask imploding as the hollow was defeated. But I'm not a complete jerk, Ichigo said as he dusted his hands and patted the young boy on the head. So I'm going to help you guys do this for now. Good choice, man, Naruto replied as he appeared next to Ichigo in his Soul Reaper uniform, unsheathing his sword as he bent down to perform a kanso on the child. Have eternal peace, kid, Naruto said with a smile as Naruto pressed the heel of his sword against the boy's forehead. The boy disappeared in a great light. Naruto sighed as he stood up and brushed himself off, looking at Ichigo face to face now. Now to begin our training regiment, Naruto announced with a grin as Rukia walked up next to him. Why this will be your first lesson in Shinigami training school, Naruto stated as he pointed to a small chalkboard that Rukia had borrowed from one of the empty classrooms. The first lesson for today will be the history of your blade and its abilities that you can unlock through intense training. Are you ready, Kurosaki? As ready as I'll ever be, I guess, Ichigo answered with his signature scowl on his face. I still don't see the reason of turning training into a damn class. Do not question the teacher, Naruto shouted as he slammed his hand on Ichigo's desk. You will pay attention in my class. Ichigo groaned loudly as Rukia giggled a bit as she realized how serious Naruto was taking this. Rukia and Naruto had set up a mock classroom outside, borrowing some of the old equipment that the school held inside the old classrooms. It was a sunny day, the sun beaming in Ichigo's face as he squinted at the board, looking at the crude drawing that Rukia had drew. What the hell is that? Ichigo asked as he looked at the board intensely. Is that supposed to be a bunny or something? That's a hollow, Rukia corrected as she looked at Ichigo with an annoyed glance. Why do you ask? Because you suck ass at drawing, Ichigo replied as Rukia looked away, the comment obviously upsetting her. Naruto gave her a sympathetic pat on the back before he turned and looked at the board, looking at the picture and trying not to laugh out loud. He then turned to Ichigo and tried to look completely serious. Okay, this is a hollow, Naruto said as he pointed to the picture on the board. One of the main objections of a Soul Reaper is to eliminate these creatures. These creatures are extremely dangerous, created from the negative emotions of the human souls that passed and cannot enter the Soul Society. This is one of the main reasons that us Shinigami are so important. If we were to forget to bring a soul into the Soul Society, it has a 99% chance to become a hollow. Or getting devoured by hollows. These things all occur when Soul Reapers cannot fulfill their objectives. This is why we cannot be selective like I explained earlier. Now I'll send it to Rukia to explain the weapons of a Shinigami. There are two main things that Shinigami use to vanquish hollows or anything that disturbs the living, Rukia explained as she unsheathed Naruto's sword and held it out in the sun. This is a Zanpakuto, the main weapon that Soul Reapers use to do their duties. It can be evolved into two different forms than the one that you currently see now. Naruto, would you like to show him one of them? Why not? Naruto agreed as he received his sword from Rukia and held it out in front of him. The sword began to glow as a powerful soul pressure was felt coming from Naruto, the ground trembling slightly. Rukia and Ichigo watched with widened eyes as Naruto's sword glowed brightly, as if waiting for Naruto to fully awaken it. Unleash you inner demons, Kyuubi-Akuma! Naruto shouted as the sword gave off a magnificent light, the light even overpowering the sun as Rukia and Ichigo were blinded for a few seconds. When they were able to see once more, Naruto's sword was fully transformed. The blade was now much larger, 9 ridges going along the front of the sword. The sword gave off a huge aura, mimicking the aura of its user. Naruto stood there with Kyuubi-Akuma, his eyes glowing a slight red as it almost seemed as if he was being consumed by something. Naruto, that's enough, Rukia said as Naruto looked at his blade, not saying a word as Rukia patted him on the shoulder, trying to get his attention. Naruto! Rukia shouted as Naruto snapped out of his daze and looked at her with a startled expression. What happened? Naruto asked as Rukia shrugged, looking at Naruto skeptically. You were looking at your blade and not saying anything, Rukia replied as Naruto sheathed his blade, his sword transforming back to normal as he did. It was speaking to me for a minute, Naruto said as he looked up at the clear blue sky. I had the feeling it was telling me things about my past. Your past? Rukia asked with confusion. You mean when you lived in Area 78? No, long before that, Naruto answered. When I was alive, I think. That's highly impossible, Naruto, Rukia replied as Naruto looked at her. For that to occur, your sword would have had to exist with you at one point in your former life. It doesn't matter, Naruto interrupted as he turned to Ichigo, who had no idea what just occurred. That was the second form of a Zanpakuto. The third form is called Bankai, which allows you to access the fullest potential of your weapon. Most normal Shinigami such as Rukia and I do not have Bankai. It is usually reserved for captain-level Shinigami. So now that we got that out the way, there is another form of a weapon which is called Kido. It was the ability Rukia used when she paralyzed you at your house. This is used by most Shinigami as well, but you don't necessarily have to use this. I prefer not to unless I find the situation appropriate. This is all so new, Ichigo replied as he sighed. This is such a drag. The words that Ichigo spoke suddenly reminded Naruto of something that Kyuubi had said during their conversation, Naruto shaking it off as the memories he just seen faded away. Rukia watched Naruto intensely, knowing that something was occurring with him that he wasn't sharing with her. That's enough for today, Naruto said as he returned into his Jugai and gathered his items that he had brought with him. I have to go see someone about something, so I'll catch you guys later, okay? You want me to come with you? Rukia asked as Naruto shook his head no. Someone needs to stay with Ichigo in case he needs help, Naruto replied as he slugged his backpack on his back. I'll catch up with both of you later. With that, Naruto walked out of the empty lot, Rukia watching him as he walked away. Well, let's go bring this crap back to the school, Ichigo said as he lifted the chalkboard. You gonna help or look at him walk away all day, Rukia? Oh, sorry, Rukia replied as she picked up the desk and lugged the equipment back to the school with Ichigo. As Oriheim walked back home from Tatsuki's house, she hummed to herself softly as she walked in a slow stride as the cars passed her on the street. As the light turned red, Oriheim walked across the street, her shoes getting caught on a small nail that happened to be laying in the street. She tugged away with her foot as she returned to crossing the street, a car speeding towards her. As it did, Oriheim turned and looked in horror as the car prepared to strike her down. Suddenly, she was pulled away by a mysterious blonde figure, picking her up and getting her across the street safely. Oriheim looked up in surprise at her mystery hero and was surprised to see that it was the new kid in one of her classes, Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto gave her a kind smile as he set her down on the sidewalk and looked at her with concern. Are you okay? He asked as Oriheim blushed, nodding slowly as she looked away. You got to be careful out here, this is a dangerous area to be walking around without paying attention. I'm sorry for getting you involved like that, Oriheim replied as she rubbed her leg. I guess I was just in my own world, you know. What happened to your leg? Naruto asked as he noticed her rubbing it. He looked carefully as he seen that the mark looked as if she was attacked by a hollow. I'm not sure, I'm very clumsy, Oriheim replied as she looked down at her leg. I really don't remember this one. That is interesting, Naruto answered as he looked at the mark skeptically. Well, I got to go get something to eat around here. I'll see you later, okay? Where are you going to eat? Oriheim suddenly asked. She blushed darkly as Naruto turned and shrugged. Usually I try to find a ramen bar or something, Naruto replied. Why, do you know a better place? Well, I'm about to go home and cook dinner, Oriheim said as she held up a small grocery bag that she had picked up after leaving Tatsuki's house. If you wanted to, you could. Lead the way, Naruto shouted enthusiastically as Oriheim blushed again, nodding as Naruto followed her to her home. I hope you like bean paste, Oriheim shouted from the kitchen as Naruto gagged for the 10th time that night. As Oriheim cooked some horrible concoction in the kitchen, the smell of the food wafted in Naruto's nose as he waited for her to bring out the meal. Naruto looked at the window, wishing he could just jump out of it and go to somewhere he could actually breathe at. He sighed as the doorbell rang. Could you get that for me? Oriheim asked as the sound of ketchup squirting on something was heard from the kitchen. No problem, Naruto answered as he held his nose and walked up to the doorway. He opened the door and there stood Tatsuki, looking at Naruto with widened eyes as he opened the door. What the hell? Tatsuki asked as she got into a fighting position. Are you trying to do something with Oriheim? And no, Naruto stuttered as he ducked from a kick, doing a back flip back into Oriheim's house. Tatsuki looked at Naruto in surprise, not expecting this from him. Tatsuki dropped the bag she was carrying and ran at Naruto, prepared to strike. She stopped suddenly, falling to her knees as she covered her nose and mouth. What the hell is that smell? Tatsuki choked out as it suddenly hit Naruto, the smell even stronger and worse now. His eyes began to water as Oriheim walked out the kitchen, holding what looked like a squash. Hey Tatsuki, what's up? Oriheim asked as Tatsuki put her head out the window, Naruto pushing her away to try to put his head out as well. What's wrong, guys? Oriheim asked as Tatsuki turned around and pointed to the bag she dropped. My mom cooked, so I brought some food over to eat, Tatsuki said as she took a gulp of air from the window. Warm that up and take whatever you are cooking and toss it out. Does it smell too spicy? Oriheim asked as Tatsuki and Naruto looked at each other in unison and nodded at Oriheim. She nodded as she turned off the stove and picked up the bag that Tatsuki brought. Thank you, Naruto moaned as he fell to the floor, taking a deep breath. Wow, this is great, Tatsuki, Naruto said happily as he took a strip of steak and popped it into his mouth. Your mom sure knows how to make ramen with steak. Thanks, Naruto, Tatsuki replied as she took a bite of ramen. So, where did you learn how to do that wicked backflip? I totally didn't expect you to do something like that. I've been training for a long time, Naruto replied with a smile as he took another bite of food. I'm also pretty good with a sword as well. You should take karate or join the kendo team then, Tatsuki replied as Naruto looked up at the ceiling thoughtfully. That's not a half bad idea, Naruto answered as he finished his food. I would love to see you fight Naruto, Orihime said as she automatically blushed afterwards. Oh, I bet you would, Orihime, Tatsuki teased as Orihime looked away, embarrassed. I got to use the bathroom, Naruto said as he patted his stomach and got up. Excuse me, ladies? Naruto lumbered from the table, walking into the bathroom as Tatsuki looked at Orihime with a grin. Stop it, Tatsuki, Orihime said as Tatsuki pushed her gently, looking at the bathroom door. I thought you were hot for Ichigo, but now in no way Orihime is after the new guy, Tatsuki said as she patted Orihime on the back. Asking him to dinner, telling him she would be his biggest fan, I'm impressed. Tatsuki, Orihime scowled as she looked away. The two girls continued talking as another person was watching them, going into the house as an invisible force. That's the stuff, Naruto said as he got done using the bathroom and flushed the toilet. He washed his hands slowly, looking in the mirror as his mind went back to where he went earlier. 3 hours earlier. As Naruto walked into the Urahara shop, he was greeted by Kisuke, who was wearing the silly grin that he always had on his face. What's up, Naruto? Kisuke asked as he and Naruto sat down at a small round table. Do you need any more supplies? No, this is about something different, Naruto replied as he cleared his throat and looked at Kisuke seriously. I know that you are a lot more than meets the eye, so that is why I am asking you this question. Is it normal for a Zanpakuto to tell you things that occurred in your past life? You mean before you were in the Soul Society? Kisuke asked as he stroked his chin softly. That is a very interesting case that I would have to say never occurred before. Your Zanpakuto is technically a part of you, something that is derived from inside your very soul. It represents and takes the shape of what defines you. Your sword would not be capable to tell you this information because this information has been completely wiped away from your body, mind, soul, etc. So to answer your question, it is not possible, but I wouldn't exactly put it past anything. Why do you ask? Just curious, Naruto answered as he stood up and stretched a bit. Thanks, Mr. Urahara. No problem at all, Kisuke replied as he led Naruto out of the shop, watching the boy leave with an intrigued look on his face. Naruto turned on the sink as he let the water run, splashing a bit of it on his face as he sighed and looked in the mirror. Suddenly, there was a scream heard from out in the dining room, an ominous force being felt inside the area. Naruto turned off the water and opened the door slowly, looking out the door slowly. He gasped as a giant hollow put his arm through Orihime's chest, a blank expression on her face as she fell to the ground slowly. The hollow snickered as Orihime surfaced next to her own body, a chain now connected to her chest. No, Naruto began as looked down, and realized he had no way to become a Soul Reaper. He needed Rukia's glove, and Rukia was not able to be contacted. Damn it, Naruto whispered as he tried to think of a plan. I guess I'm going to have to wing it. He prepared to jump out the bathroom and attack until Ichigo suddenly appeared. Hey, ugly! Ichigo shouted as he tried to attack the hollow grabbing his sword with one hand and pushing Ichigo back with the other. Naruto ran out the bathroom quickly as he tried to distract the hollow, allowing Ichigo to retrieve his sword. It didn't work, the hollow holding onto Ichigo's sword tightly as it punched Naruto away. All of you back away! The hollow screamed as Naruto and Ichigo looked at it in surprise. You all are trying to take Orihime away from me. You can't have her. She is mine. What the hell are you talking about? Naruto asked as he looked at Orihime, who was just confused as he was. You are trying to kill her, and you say we are being possessive of her? Just what kind of rare psycho are you? So you are trying to talk with the hollow now, a voice said behind Naruto as he turned and seeing Rukia smiling. You are an idiot sometimes. Need a hand? It wouldn't hurt, Naruto replied with a smile as well as Rukia pulled on her glove and knocked Naruto out of his Jigai. Shinigami Naruto now stood there, pulling out his sword as he looked at the hollow with a grin. So why did you come here for? Naruto asked as he held his sword out in front of him. Did you guys sense the hollow or something? We were attacked by this exact hollow at Ichigo's home, Rukia replied as she removed the glove and returned it into her pocket. After attacking us, it suddenly escaped, and we followed it back here to Oriheim's house. I had met up with Oriheim earlier in the day and had a hint that she might be in trouble after seeing the mark on her leg. I saw that as well, Naruto interrupted. So this guy must be connected to Oriheim somehow. I think I know who it is. Rukia began as the Hollow finally lost its patience and attacked Naruto. Soul Reaper, huh? The Hollow said as it tried to attack. Naruto flashed, stepping away as he prepared to strike. You also want to take Oriheim from me? Naruto? Oriheim said in the corner as her hands were wrapped around the chain that stuck from her chest. Naruto looked over at her and got attacked, getting knocked into a wall that was behind him. Naruto pulled himself from the wall, grinning as he prepared to attack. Unleash you inner demons, Kyuubi-akuma! Naruto shouted. LL be facing off against me for a few rounds. Are you ready? As Naruto's Zanpakuto glowed with fierce rage, his aura surfaced greatly as the sword's true self was unleashed. As the Hollow watched this transformation in awe, Oriheim, Ichigo, and Rukia were dumbstruck as Naruto's vast soul pressure filled the room. Rukia began to crouch down slowly, the soul pressure making it almost impossible to even stand. I could have killed you without using this much power, Naruto murmured as his eyes glowed dark red. But I'm a big fan of overkill. As these words escaped from his mouth, Naruto sprang forward, hacking off one of the Hollow's arms with one quick movement. The arm slid off quickly, the sword cutting through the Hollow like butter. The Hollow screamed in pain as it tried to attack Naruto. Naruto flashed, stepping as the Hollow reached out at him. He prepared to bring down his sword until he started hearing the voice of Kyuubi-akuma once again. Naruto! Kyuubi-akuma hissed softly as Naruto looked at his blade in fear. Do you fear me, Naruto? Why don't you use our true power to crush this insignificant bug? Why do you hesitate? Naruto didn't reply, just looking at his sword with a blank expression until the Hollow reached over and slapped him away. Naruto slammed into a wall nearby, his sword dropping from his hands as he continued to look at the sword blankly. Naruto? Rukia asked as she pulled herself from the ground and began to shake Naruto's shoulders. Naruto! I'll take care of it! Ichigo shouted as he retrieved his sword and rushed at the Hollow. The Hollow chuckled as it tried to swing at Ichigo with its only arm, but Ichigo ducked and slammed his sword into the side of the Hollow's mask, the mask cracking off. As it did, Oriheim gasped in shock as part of the Hollow's true face was revealed. Sora? Oriheim asked as tears fell from her eyes. Is that you? Oriheim, the Hollow murmured as it looked at Oriheim sadly. I am no longer the big brother I once was. It happened so quickly I barely remember. I was watching you have a little tea party with your friend, you looked so happy. I was happy too. Suddenly, I was surrounded by monsters that looked just as I look now. They tortured me, bringing me to this world where they turned me into one of them. Now I must feed. Because of you, little sister. Because of you I am a monster now. Sora went rushing at Oriheim, picking her up with his one arm as he squeezed her tightly. I gave my life for you. Now you will return the favor. Sora spat as he continued to squeeze Oriheim, Oriheim screaming in pain. Suddenly Sora's final arm was hacked off, Ichigo taking this one off. Oriheim fell to the floor, looking up at her hollowified brother with tears streaming down her face. Do you know why big brothers are born first? Ichigo asked as he held his sword out and pointed it at Sora. So they can protect the little siblings that come after them. Not sit there and try to kill them. You don't understand, Kurosaki Ichigo. Sora screamed as he looked down at the ground. Me and Oriheim's parents were true monsters, people who believed the only way to soothe a baby's cries was to beat them senseless. When I turned 18, I took my 3-year-old baby sister and escaped that hell house. I gave everything for Oriheim. She owes me her life. You have no nobility, do you? A voice asked as Naruto walked up from behind Ichigo. He held his sword as he looked at Sora with disgust. You did the right thing and you want a reward for it? You are only blinded by your fury that has been unleashed due to becoming a hollow. You never thought of these things when you were alive. Now stop being a fool. This is the final chance I'm giving you to snap out of it and give your sister a final goodbye. Sora remained silent for a minute before he turned and rammed his face into the tip of Ichigo's sword, the hollow mask falling off completely. I want to at least die not a monster, Sora replied as he turned to his sister. Oriheim, I am sorry for how I have acted. It's just that when I first died, you had always prayed for me, every day. The prayers soothed my spirit, making me feel that I was still in your heart. But once you grew older, the prayers began to happen much less. After you met that girl, the prayers stopped happening at all. All you would do is speak of that girl and those boys. I thought you had forgotten about me. Sora, Oriheim answered with a sad smile. I'm so sorry that I made you feel so lonely. But I just wanted you to see that I was happy. I never forgot about you. You are always in my heart, you never left. I will always love and appreciate everything you did for me, Sora. Orihime, Sora said as he looked at his sister sadly. He turned to Naruto and Ichigo and bowed his head. Please send me to hell now, Sora answered as Naruto walked up and gave him a smile. Hell isn't what awaits you, my friend, Naruto replied as his sword began to glow red. What awaits you is the Soul Society, which is a very peaceful place. Sora nodded as he suddenly began to tremble, his hollow mask beginning to resurface. Please hurry! Sora screamed as his mask resurfaced quickly. Please, before I lose myself again. Now! Naruto screamed as his sword unleashed an awesome aura, a small red ball flying from the tip and covering Sora completely. Now finish this Kyubi-Akuma. The ball imploded slowly, Sora's body disintegrating inside the ball. Have a good day, Sora, Orihime said softly as Sora looked from inside the ball with a smile. His body completely disappeared, beautiful red sparks flying around the room as it was finished. As it finished, Naruto sheathed his sword on his back and sighed. Are you okay, Naruto? Rukia asked as she walked up behind him. You were in a daze for a while there. So, what's going on? Orihime asked as she looked over at Naruto. Why are you and Ichigo wielding swords? What is the Soul Society? Why are you? Orihime was interrupted by Rukia walking over and putting something that looked like a Pez dispenser in her face. It exploded loudly, Orihime falling to the ground with a daze. What the hell did you do? Ichigo asked as Rukia waved her hand at him. She's fine, just memory wiped, Rukia explained as she pointed to Orihime's real body. We need to put her back into her real body and fix this place up. Come on, hurry up! Naruto and Ichigo both groaned loudly. So you were attacked by Yazuka gunmen? Ichigo asked as Orihime nodded, Naruto chuckling softly. Naruto was there too. Tell him, Naruto! Orihime shouted as Naruto shook his head yes. Well, that is quite a night, Orihime, Ichigo replied as he slammed his locker door shut. I hope you and everyone was okay. Yeah, we made it out just in time, Naruto answered as it was Ichigo's turn to chuckle. Hey you guys! Rukia shouted as she walked out of the cafeteria, holding a small juice box. We have a phone call we need to take outside. This early in the morning? Ichigo complained as he reopened his locker and stuffed his books back inside of it. These phone calls are really starting to piss me off, deal with it, Rukia replied as she finished her juice and tossed it inside the trash. Ichigo, Naruto, and Rukia exited the school, Orihime watching them with surprise. She stood there for a moment, memories flashing through her mind as she did. Naruto is a samurai, she muttered aloud as she watched the trio leave. As the signal grew larger, the hollow was bound to arrive at any time. As Naruto and Ichigo awaited the hollow in full Shinigami gear impatiently, Rukia stood by and watched her soul pager, the signal growing larger for the closer the hollow got. It's going to arrive in 3, 2, 1, Rukia counted down as the hollow let out a deadly howl, Naruto and Ichigo looking at each other in unison as they dodged the first attack from the hollow coming out of the bushes and trying to land a cheap shot. If you are going to try to use a sneak attack, at least be quiet about it, Naruto shouted as he slammed his sword into the hollow's mask, Ichigo mirroring Naruto. The combined might of both the swords destroyed the hollow thoroughly, Ichigo and Naruto sheathing their swords as they finished. I could use a bowl of ramen after that workout, Naruto muttered as he looked around for his Jugai. Where the hell did you put my Jugai, Rukia? Am I the keeper of your fake body? Rukia asked as she stood by and read a small horror novel she pulled out from her backpack. It's probably the last place you left it. Damn it! Naruto moaned as he thought about where he had become a Soul Reaper at. It's at the school. Damn, my body must be there too! Ichigo shouted as he shook his head in annoyance. Isn't there a way we could have our bodies near us when we need them? Actually, there is one way, Rukia said as she put a small bookmark in her book and shoved it inside her backpack. Come on, follow me over to Urahara's shop. Urahara's shop? Ichigo asked as Rukia walked ahead of him. Where the hell is that? Just follow me, Rukia answered simply as she led the group over to the shop. As they passed a few streets and walked a few blocks, Rukia knocked at a door. A large man answered the door, his black sunglasses gleaming in the sun. Yes? The man asked in a deep voice as Rukia, Naruto, and Ichigo all looked up at him in surprise. Is Mr. Urahara here? Rukia asked as the man nodded, motioning for the group to enter the house. Ichigo looked at Naruto with uncertainty, Naruto giving him a reassuring smile before they stepped inside the house. Would you like any tea or anything? The large man asked as everyone shook their head no. I am Tsukabashi Tezai, and if you need anything please ask. Mr. Urahara will be out in just a minute. Everyone nodded politely as Tensai walked out of the room. That guy was freaking huge and weird looking, Naruto exclaimed as someone clearing their throat was heard from the room. I'm still standing in ear range, Tensai said as Naruto coughed. Oh my bad, Naruto replied sheepishly as he looked away. What can I do for you guys? Kisuke asked as he pulled a curtain back and entered the room. Well, looks like we got another Soul Reaper this time. And who might you be? Kurosaki Ichigo, Ichigo replied as Kisuke nodded. I see, very interesting, he answered as he took a seat next to the table on the floor. We need to purchase soul candy, Rukia replied as Naruto looked at her, smiling broadly. That's right. I forgot all about that, Naruto shouted as Ichigo looked at him, confused. What the hell is soul candy? Ichigo asked as Kisuke pulled a small item from a drawer and held it out in his palm for everyone to see. This is a soul candy, Kisuke explained as he rolled the small piece of candy in his hand. This isn't a real one, just a display model. It allows another soul to inhabit your body while you are occupied being a soul reaper. So your body will move, talk, and act as the soul acts. Then when you come back, you pop out the soul candy and jump back into your body. It's that simple. That sounds completely stupid, Ichigo commented as he rubbed the back of his head. But whatever, we need like 2 of them. Well, I have only 2 in stock, I believe, Kisuke replied as he walked into the back once more, not coming back for at least 5 minutes. As he walked out, he held only one of the soul candies. This is the only one that I had in stock, Kisuke said as he placed it on the table. I'll order some more specially. So which one of you wants this one? Give it to Ichigo, he is the only normal human, Naruto replied as Ichigo picked up the candy and looked at it skeptically. I don't know about this thing, Ichigo said as he looked deeply into the candy. I have a bad feeling about this thing. Stop worrying for no reason, Ichigo, Naruto said as he slapped Ichigo on the back. It's just a piece of candy. What the hell is it going to do to you? The next day, as Ichigo, Rukia, and Naruto walked to school together, they were surprised to see a large man walking by them, holding a large bird cage with a small bird inside of it. Hey Chad, Ichigo greeted as the man walked up. What's with the? As Ichigo looked at the bird, he sensed a small spirit inside of the bird. Rukia and Naruto looked at each other in unison as Chad held up the small bird. This is my new young friend, Chad replied as he looked at the bird fondly. Hello friends, the bird said as Ichigo gasped. What is your names? I'm Ichigo, this is Rukia, and that is Naruto, Ichigo answered as he looked at the bird in shock. It's nice to meet you. Well, we must get going, Chad said as he walked away, waving as he walked away with the bird. Isn't that? Ichigo asked as Rukia smiled. Don't worry, it's harmless, Rukia replied. It's just probably a lonely soul that found its way inside of a bird. We will perform a console later after school, okay? He's getting better at this, Naruto thought as he looked at Ichigo with a grin. They continued walking until there was a loud beep, Rukia going into her pocket and pulling out her soul pager. Hollow coming, Rukia said as she looked at Naruto and Ichigo, who nodded. Actually, let Ichigo take this one, Naruto. You go to school with his body and make sure it's okay, alright? I wanted to kill the hollow, Naruto pouted as Rukia rolled her eyes. Ichigo took out the candy from his pocket and popped it into his mouth, his Shinigami form popping from his body. Hey, you there? Ichigo asked as his body nodded slowly. Alright, go with Naruto, okay? His body nodded once again as Rukia and Ichigo rushed away. Guess it's me and you, huh? Naruto asked as he motioned for fake Ichigo to follow him. Wow, you are a lot more quieter than Ichigo ever is. All he usually does is complain. As Naruto returned back to the school with the fake Ichigo, he began to drift back to the times when he was in school himself. It was called the Shinigami Academy, the place where he had trained to become the Shinigami he was today. Even though he had always been the number 2 student in school, he remembered fondly about the person who he feuded with in his earlier days. Flashback. It was a beautiful morning in the Soul Society. As the fresh out of Area 78 Naruto headed up a small hill to the Shinigami Academy, he stopped and took a deep breath, the sweet smell of cherry blossoms flustering through his nostrils. He smiled broadly, looking up at the giant academy building that loomed before him. It had a calming sense, making the soon-to-be Shinigami forget his worries and strive to succeed. Naruto took another deep breath as he walked up to the entrance, placing his right hand on the doorknob to enter the school. Before he could open the door was forced open from the other side, sending Naruto to the ground as 2 other students walked from outside the building. They looked down at Naruto with a snicker before they advanced ahead, pointing and laughing as another boy with blonde hair walked up near the academy. Well, here he is now, one of the boys announced as the blonde boy edged back, seeing that the two boys were blocking him from entering. Where you going, pal? You were supposed to help us with our keto homework the other day, and you didn't pull through. So you know what that means. As the boy said this, he and his friend unsheathed two wooden swords from their sides. You gotta pay the toll to pass, the boy finished as he pointed his wooden sword at the boy in front of him. Give us anything you got that we might like. As the boys were bullying the blonde boy, another boy walked into the scene. This boy seemed completely different from the boy that was getting bullied. This boy seemed fierce, his facial expressions telling a story of a person who had seen too much in his short lifetime. He had jet black hair, straight in the front and more edged in the back. He wore an academy outfit, and his eyes were a dark gray. He looked up slowly as he walked into the blonde boy, who backed into him. The blonde boy turned around, looking at the black-haired boy in fear as the two kids in front of them chuckled. Hey, aren't you that Uchiha Sasuke kid? One of them asked as they stood in their position, not moving an inch. I heard that you were a pretty good fighter from wherever you came from. Want to test that theory here and now? You aren't on my level, Sasuke replied bluntly as he tried to move ahead of the bullies. Now move out of my way. Aren't you going to ask us nicely? One of the bullies teased as Sasuke closed his eyes. Were you gonna make us move, tough guy? I'll ask you one more time, Sasuke warned as he didn't move a muscle. Move now or else. The two bullies snickered as they continued to look at Sasuke, not moving an inch. Sasuke opened his eyes as a smile creeped onto his face. If that is the way you want it, Sasuke muttered as he slammed his elbow into one of the boy's chin, blood spitting out the boy's mouth as he was backed away. The other boy tried to attack, using his wooden sword to strike down upon Sasuke. Sasuke foresaw the attack, rolling out the way as the boy swung down, Sasuke leaning in and punching the boy in the cheek, his face partially caving in from the punch. The boy backed up, holding his cheek as blood dripped from his mouth. As Sasuke prepared to walk away, the other boy who had been elbowed in the jaw had sneaked behind Sasuke and now latched onto him, pulling him into a chokehold. Naruto gasped in surprise as he looked around, no other people strangely in sight to stop the battle. He sighed loudly as he rushed to Sasuke's aid. The boy that had backed up spotted Naruto coming, picking up his wooden sword that had dropped from his hand and swinging it in Naruto's direction. Naruto doing a dodging slide, he dodged while sliding on the ground, and stood up quickly. As the boy struck again, Naruto grabbed the wooden sword with his left hand, Naruto looking at him with a grin as he tripped the boy with his foot. The boy fell on his face, Naruto pulling his wooden sword away as he did. Naruto turned and prepared to strike the boy who was holding Sasuke in a chokehold. The boy began to struggle as he was pulled over Sasuke's shoulders, Sasuke slamming him to the ground. The boy looked up slowly as Naruto and Sasuke attacked at the same time, both of their fists hitting his opposite cheek. As they finished this quick barrage of fists, Sasuke dusted his hands off before walking away promptly, not even paying any attention to Naruto. Hey, what the hell? Naruto asked as he walked quickly, catching up to Sasuke. I just saved your ass there and I don't even get a thank you. I didn't need the likes of you to jump in, Sasuke replied bluntly as he sped up. Now back off, I'm already late for class. Naruto sped up as well, grabbing Sasuke's shoulder angrily as he did. Sasuke stopped, looking at the hand that was rested on his shoulder with annoyance. He looked up at Naruto, who wasn't going to remove his hand. So it seems that you didn't get enough of a display of what I could do, Sasuke said as he slapped Naruto's hand away and kneed Naruto in the chest. Naruto gasped in pain, blood dripping down his school outfit from his mouth as he looked up at Sasuke angrily. Sasuke smirked as he watched Naruto swing at him, Sasuke catching the fist in mid-air easily. You don't seem to be capable of keeping up with my abilities, Sasuke stated as he prepared to strike the young Shinigami in the face. I think that's enough of that, young ones, a voice replied as a man with wavy brown hair and thin glasses stepped forward, putting his hand on Sasuke's shoulder. Who the hell are you? Naruto asked as the Shinigami chuckled, walking over and patting Naruto on the back. My name is Aizen Sosuke, I'm the lieutenant of the 5th Division, the Shinigami answered as Naruto gasped in surprise. Wow, a lieutenant? He asked with widened eyes as Aizen nodded in response. I've never met a Shinigami with such a high ranking. I sensed your spiritual pressure when you resided in Area 78, Aizen interrupted. You were quite impressive. I was the one who requested to my captain to send someone to pick you up from that horrible place. He agreed and I said it would be best to give you suitable training. So please train hard so that you can become part our team. So what is your name, soon to be ally? My name is Uzumaki Naruto, Naruto answered with a grin as he gave Aizen a quick bow. I would be honored to be able to join your team. Why bother with an insignificant battle power like yours? Sasuke interrupted with a superior smile. You are just another low-rate Shinigami. I come from a place that I was feared and respected as the strongest around. I shall be taking the place of Hirako Shinji as the captain of the 5th Division. Either that or I will take Shihoin Yoruchi as the captain of the 2nd Division. You will have to get past me first, Naruto growled as he and Sasuke stared each other down. I will be the one to become the strongest Shinigami that ever lived. We shall see about that, loser, Sasuke replied with a grin as he walked away, Naruto looking at him with a strange expression. Why do I feel like I've heard that before? Naruto asked himself as he turned back to Aizen. Well, time to get to class then, Naruto, Aizen said as he guided Naruto back towards the school. Make sure to get in your training and stay true to your word. We will need you in the upcoming days. Flashback end. Hey Naruto! A voice shouted as Naruto returned back to reality and turned around. Rukia and Ichigo ran up to him, seemingly looking for something as Naruto stared at them with confusion. Hey guys, you're already done with that hollow? Naruto asked as Ichigo and Rukia looked at each other in unison. We've been done for about 20 minutes now, Rukia answered as Naruto turned around, wondering where fake Ichigo disappeared to. Where's Ichigo's body? Naruto muttered as he looked around the area a second time. We might have a problem, you guys. 'Cause I have no idea where Ichigo's body disappeared to. I was kinda reminiscing about things and must have stopped paying attention. You lost my damn body? Ichigo asked as he looked around frantically. What the hell, Naruto? Damn it, let's split up and look for it. Naruto, you take the school. Rukia, you take downtown. I'll take uptown. We'll meet back here in a half hour, okay? Naruto and Rukia nodded as Naruto took off in the direction of the school, Rukia taking off downtown. Ichigo sighed as he headed uptown. As Naruto rushed to the school, he could already see that something wasn't right. A window was broken, and a chair was laying on its back in the front of the school. Naruto jumped up to his classroom window as he looked within it, fake Ichigo walking up to Tatsuki. Hey babe, fake Ichigo said as he put his hand up against the wall next to Tatsuki. You might not have the goods I like, but you're pretty enough. How about me and you go have a makeout session, huh? Tatsuki looked at fake Ichigo with shock as Oriheim, who was standing next to Tatsuki, gasped. Oh, and you with the goods over there. Maybe you would like to join us, huh? Besides, I could use something to squeeze while me and your friend are making out. So how about it? Naruto jumped down quickly as fake Ichigo was kicked out the window, falling to the ground as Tatsuki looked from the window with fire shooting from her eyes. Wow, what is up with these girls? Fake Ichigo groaned as he pulled himself from the ground. He turned as Naruto stood behind him, tapping his foot on the lawn. Alright, you have had your fun now, Naruto said as fake Ichigo snickered. Time for you to get out of Ichigo's body. How about I keep this body and you get out of my way? Fake Ichigo shouted as he jumped up and kicked Naruto in the face, Naruto falling to the ground with a shocked expression on his face. You can't defeat me, Shinigami, so back off and keep away. Fake Ichigo took off, Naruto getting up from the ground angrily as he took off after fake Ichigo. Don't make me become a Soul Reaper, whatever your name is. Naruto screamed as he reached out to grab fake Ichigo. My name is Khan. Fake Ichigo screamed as he turned around and punched Naruto in the chest, Naruto backing up as he held his chest. Now stop bugging me. Khan did a quick twist kick, knocking Naruto away as Naruto growled from the ground. Damn it, where is Rukia? Naruto groaned as he got up once again. I want to teach this a lesson. Hey, did you find him? Ichigo asked as he jogged up to Naruto. Yeah, he took off that way, Naruto replied as he brushed the dirt off his school uniform. It seems you must have bought a defective soul candy. That one has a mind of its own, acting on its own will. We need to stop it before it completely destroys your reputation. Son of a bitch! Ichigo roared as he grabbed Naruto's shirt collar. Why didn't you say that this thing could have occurred? This kind of thing has never happened before, Naruto exclaimed as he pulled his shirt collar from Ichigo's hand. I'm just as surprised as you are. Ichigo sighed deeply, putting his hands to his face in exasperation. Let's go catch this bastard then, Ichigo murmured as he pulled out his sword. I'm going to teach him a lesson about going around showboating in my body. As they followed the running Khan, Rukia was walking from uptown, spotting Chad and the bird that had a soul within it. Hey new girl, Chad said as he spotted her. You seem as if you are looking for something. I was wondering if you seen Ichigo, Rukia asked as Chad shook his head no, thinking back to the last time he had seen Ichigo. The last time I seen Ichigo was when he was with you, Chad explained as he looked at the bird. You had just met my friend here, remember? Yeah, that's right, Rukia replied with a fake smile as she prepared to walk away. Suddenly, something that felt as if it was an earthquake occurred, gigantic footsteps appearing next to where Rukia and Chad were standing. A hollow Rukia said as she looked up at the mighty beast. Damn it, why now of all times? What's going on here? Chad asked as Rukia pointed to the opposite direction. Run away from this place as fast as you can, Chad, Rukia shouted as Chad looked at her confused. Do it now if you want to live. Something's here, Chad said as the hollow chuckled softly. That's right, tough guy, I'm right here. The hollow screamed as it went rushing at Chad, Chad turning around and giving it a bone-shattering punch to its jaw, the hollow screaming in pain. Rukia stood there with widened eyes as Chad set down the bird in a safe place and looked around the area. You shouldn't have done that, the hollow murmured as it looked at Chad angrily. I'm going to have fun devouring you. Chad! Look out! Rukia screamed as Chad rolled away from the hollow's attack, the hollow growling in anger. Can you see this thing, new girl? Chad asked as he gave the hollow another blow to the face. Are you sure it's actually here? You can't even see it? Rukia asked with widened eyes. What kind of power is this? She watched as the hollow smarted from its injuries, Chad looking around for where to attack. As the fight occurred, a black cat walked up onto a tall ledge, hidden from view. So it seems there is more than just Ichigo that will assist Naruto, the black cat murmured to himself as he stood there. I will be waiting in anticipation to see what occurs here. Kisuke was right. Naruto will have his hands full in the future. I just hope he has used my training to the fullest. As Naruto and Ichigo sped after Khan, they were beginning to lose their patience. This idiot is running on some kind of forever energy. Naruto huffed as he stopped and took a gulp of air. I can't take all this running, man. I'm beginning to lose patience myself, Ichigo replied as he stopped and took a deep breath. We need a plan to take this guy out. How about this one, Soul Reaper? A voice asked as a blue and white arrow glided through the air, hitting Khan directly in the back. Khan's eyes went blank as he fell to the ground slowly, the soul candy rolling from Ichigo's body's mouth. Who in the hell? Naruto asked as he turned around, a boy with black spectacles standing behind him. He held a smoking bow, a superior smile pasted on his face. Soul Reapers are so insignificant, the boy said as he fixed his glasses upon his face. They couldn't even solve a simple problem as a troublesome soul candy. Hey, just who the hell do you think you are? Naruto asked angrily as the boy smiled again, putting his bow to the side of him. I'm Ishida Yuryu, a Quincy, the boy said as he pointed his bow at Naruto. You are Shinigami, and I hate them with a passion. As the sun beamed down onto Naruto's face, he shielded his eyes with his right hand as he squinted at this new enemy that called himself a Quincy. A Quincy, huh? Naruto murmured as he tried to recollect where he had heard this name before. He suddenly snapped his fingers as another recollection of Shinigami Academy spurred into his mind. As Naruto gathered his school items inside of his small knapsack he carried around, he sighed softly as he walked out of the classroom. Naruto yawned loudly as he trudged down the hallway, heading outside for what was called the rest period, like a lunchtime for Shinigami students. As Naruto sat underneath a large oak tree, he inhaled the sweet smell of pine as he put his head back against the large oak and closed his eyes. Suddenly, something was thrown against Naruto's head, the item ricocheting off of his forehead as Naruto's eyes snapped open. Well, if it wasn't number 2, Sasuke muttered with a superior smile as he stood by a small bench next to the school. Naruto got up angrily, prepared to go over to Sasuke and teach him a lesson. As Naruto stood up, Sasuke disappeared from where he was standing, Naruto looking around the area in surprise. Naruto felt a tap on his shoulder as he turned around and found himself face to face with Sasuke. Can I help you? Sasuke asked menacingly as a bead of sweat dripped down Naruto's forehead. What's wrong, loser? You're as worthless as a Quincy. I didn't think you would be this slow. Hey, I'm just as fast as you are, jerk. Naruto shouted as he pulled his knapsack off of his back and threw it up against the oak tree. How about we have a race if you don't believe me? A race, huh? Sasuke said as he scanned the area. This place isn't really big enough to race in. How about this? We race around the Soul Society. We go around the entire place, and this will be the finishing point. Winner gets to choose another challenge for the loser. Deal? Fine, let's do this, Naruto muttered as he and Sasuke went to the starting point, standing side by side. I won't lose to the likes of you. We will see about that, Sasuke replied with a grin as he went into a running pose. Get ready, Gyo. Sasuke and Naruto took off, Sasuke taking the early lead. They pulled all around the Soul Society, going through all of the areas as well as the squad meeting areas. As Naruto tried to catch up with him, he watched as Sasuke ran even faster, completely leaving Naruto in the dust. Naruto stopped as he put his hands against his knees, panting loudly as he tried to regain his breath. He looked up as he seen Sasuke miles ahead of him. Damn it, Naruto thought as he fell to his knees. How could I be so slow compared to this guy? I need to. Naruto's mind went blank as he fell to the ground, passed out from exhaustion. As Naruto's eyes slowly opened, he found himself inside a small area, laying inside a comfortable bed with bandages wrapped around his head. He rubbed the back of his head softly, sharp pain tingling as he did. "Ow," Naruto murmured softly as he sat up inside the bed. He looked around, wondering where he could be at. As he looked around, a young girl that looked a bit older than him walked into the room, Naruto turning and looking at her in surprise. "Hey, who are you?" Naruto asked as the girl set down a set of clothes on the bed he was laying on. "I was told to wash and dry your clothes, which were caked with blood due to your injury," the girl answered, not looking at Naruto as she stood by the door. "It seems that you fell against the sidewalk and injured the back of your head. Quite foolish for a Shinigami student if you asked me." "And who the hell are you supposed to be?" Naruto asked with an annoyed glance. "Do you think that you are better than me?" "I know that I am your superior in battle," the girl answered surely as she smiled. Naruto growled, not really angrily, but enough to show this girl he was no pushover. He kind of admired this strange girl, the look of her face showing that she wasn't any ordinary fighter. She was kind of tomboyish, but Naruto found this kind of cute. She had short black hair, wearing a Shinigami kimono, and her eyes showed courage and strength. She seemed as if she couldn't stand Naruto, but Naruto thought quite differently about her. Even though he didn't say anything about it, of course, his mind too busy occupied on that this girl just stated she was his superior. Naruto looked up at his forehead as a strand of his bandages brushed up against his eye, Naruto pulling the strand as he unwrapped the bandages. "You shouldn't move so quickly," the girl said as she watched him remove the bandages with an amused smile. "Weaklings can get hurt if they don't fully recover from their injuries." "Watch it, Soifan," a voice stated behind the girl as the girl turned with a surprised glance. She bowed slightly as she moved aside to let the person who spoke past. It was a woman, having long, purple-colored hair. Her eyes were a light hazel and she had a friendly smile on her face as Naruto stopped unwrapping his bandages to face her. "So you are the famous Uzumaki Naruto," the woman said as she sat on the corner of the bed. "I've heard much about you from those who pay attention to the Shinigami Academy. You have a steady reputation of being a masterful swordsman, but I could not say the same about your hand-to-hand combat if my sources are correct. I also can see due to your accident based on what I was told by Uchiha Sasuke that you aren't much of a runner as well." "Master Yorichi, my apologies in advance, but why waste your time pointing out the obvious with this kid?" Soifan asked as Yorichi looked at her with a disapproving glance. "Soifan, you really should call me by Master Yorichi, it sounds so tacky," Yorichi commented as she leaned back a bit on the bed. "And besides, I want to know about our friend Naruto." "So you are Shihoin Yorichi, huh?" Naruto interrupted as he leaned in and looked at Yorichi closely. Soifan growled as she prepared to pry Naruto's face away from Yorichi, but Yorichi closed her eyes and smiled as Naruto investigated her. "I can't sense your spiritual pressure," Naruto finally said after doing this act for more than 2 minutes. "I heard that some captain's soul pressure can even be felt when they are hiding it, so what's the deal with yours? Are you doubting Master Yorichi's power?" Soifan spat as she unsheathed her sword from her side. "Calm down, Soifan," Yorichi sighed as she opened her eyes and looked at Naruto. "Naruto, you must understand that if my soul pressure was felt, you and Soifan would both be on the ground at this point. Especially you, Naruto, not to point fingers. Sometimes strength can't be determined on just meeting someone and drawing your own conclusions. I don't like to do that personally. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to sleep as long as you want in here for tonight, and tomorrow I would like you to meet me at the Squad 2 training area. I will send Soifan to wake you up if that is necessary. Please stay in here for the rest of the night, do not leave this room. I will inform the school that you will be with me for the next 2 days. Do you accept this?" What will I be doing exactly?" Naruto asked as Yorichi motioned for Soifan to leave the room, getting up herself. "I guess you will have to report to the field tomorrow to find out, won't you?" Yorichi answered mysteriously as she and Soifan left the room, leaving Naruto with his thoughts. "Naruto!" Ichigo screamed as Naruto's daydream was interrupted by Ichigo's shout. Naruto looked up with confusion as he then remembered the situation that he was dealing with currently. "What the hell is a Quincy?" Ichigo asked Naruto for the 3rd time as Naruto tried to think back once again to what this meant. "Since idiot boy obviously isn't paying attention, let me tutor you," the boy said as he straightened the glasses on his face. "A Quincy is a being that is similar to a Soul Reaper, but we have different weapons and ways of killing the hollows that we faced against. Allow me to also tell you why you probably never heard of a Quincy before. The egotistical Shinigami didn't like our philosophy of killing hollows, so they slaughtered our entire race." Ichigo gasped as he turned to Naruto, who was just as surprised as he was. "A Shinigami would never commit a crime so heinous," Naruto shouted as the boy chuckled, a dark smirk crossing his face. "You are blind as a bat, aren't you?" the boy asked as his chuckles turned into laughter. "I guess I'm dealing with the monkeys out of the barrel of idiots, so you got jokes, huh?" Naruto growled as he reached on his back for his sword, but remembered that he wasn't currently able to become a Shinigami without Rukia's glove. "Great, this is just perfect. Well, I guess it's time for Plan B then. I'm going to beat your face in 4 eyes." Naruto took a running start before he jumped at the boy with his fist prepared to strike. The boy simply dodged the punch and kneed Naruto in the chest on his way down to the ground. He then used his other foot to give Naruto a mean twist kick to the chin, sending Naruto sliding across the hard pavement. Naruto rubbed his mouth as he pulled himself from the ground, the Quincy boy pointing his arrow at Naruto's forehead. "Just who the hell are you, kid, and what do you want with us?" Naruto asked angrily as the boy chuckled. "You want introductions? Fine, I'm Ishida Uryu and I'm the last Quincy. I'm here to kill the both of you Shinigami and avenge my people," the boy answered as he sent a large arrow at Naruto's way, Naruto rolling out the way as he thought of a plan of attack against this Uryu person. "Hey, I'm jumping in!" Ichigo shouted as he unsheathed his sword and brought it down upon Uryu's body, Uryu sliding away as he sent a barrage of arrows Ichigo's way, Ichigo deflecting them with his sword as they made contact. Uryu snickered as he gathered his energy, the arrow becoming longer and wider. He shot this powered-up arrow, Ichigo stopping it with his sword, but the attack not going away as easily as the other arrows. Ichigo groaned as the arrow put extreme pressure against his blade, Ichigo's feet slowly digging into the ground as he tried to hold the arrow at bay. Uryu sneered as he sent 5 more arrows up in the air, these arrows going above Ichigo and raining down upon him. Ichigo looked with widened eyes as his guard was broke by the smaller arrows, the large arrow overpowering his sword and piercing his chest. I guess not all Shinigami are able to defeat Quincy's now, are they?" Uryu muttered as he straightened his glasses and smiled. To think such a simple distraction would cause such a tremendous upset. "You got a big ego, kid," Ichigo muttered as he leaned against his sword stuck into the pavement as he bled out from Uryu's attack. He smiled broadly, blood rolling down his mouth as his entire body felt the effects of the attack. "This isn't even close to over yet," Ichigo said as his body gave off a thin blue light. As Chad went toe-to-toe with something that he couldn't even see, Rukia stood behind him, pointing out where the hollow was going to strike next. "Chad, over there!" Rukia screamed as Chad dodged a swipe from the hollow, slamming his fist into the hollow's face for the 4th time that day. The hollow roared with anger, aware that this man couldn't even see him and was easily overpowering him. The hollow began to think of a plan, knowing that if he sustained any more damage, he would eventually succumb to this human. As he watched Rukia point out where he was going, the hollow figured out a plan. Chuckling darkly, the hollow dove at Rukia, Rukia not expecting the monster to do this. As she prepared to use a Kido spell, the hollow slapped her away, Rukia getting slammed into a fence. The hollow snickered as he picked Rukia up by the torso and held her high in the air. "If you can hear me, you big idiot, here is the deal," the hollow hissed as it looked at Chad, who was looking up at the seemingly floating Rukia with widened eyes. "You will back off and give me the bird for breakfast, and I might not drop this little bitch and make her splatter all over the pavement." Rukia looked down at Chad as Chad looked up at the hollow, able to see it slightly now. Chad was able to hear its words, the words angering him. His body began to slightly glow a white aura as Chad wrenched his arm back. He ran at the hollow beginning to chuckle. As the hollow chuckled, Chad slammed his entire arm into the hollow's chest, his arm tearing completely through the hollow's chest. The hollow stopped chuckling as it looked down at the hole that surfaced on his chest and roared in anger. He prepared to chuck Rukia into the ground as Chad gave the hollow's arm a karate chop, the arm getting disconnected from its body. Rukia went flying to the ground, screaming as Chad dove and caught her. Rukia sighed happily as the hollow continued to scream loudly. "I will kill you both," the hollow screamed as Rukia and Chad looked at each other in unison. Rukia stepped back as Chad went running at the hollow running at Chad. Chad jumped into the air and brought his fist down into the hollow's mask, the hollow's face imploding from the attack. The hollow screamed in pain as it was destroyed, the hollow's body exploding as its mask was destroyed. Chad took a deep breath and sighed as he looked over at Rukia. "That was close, wasn't it, new girl?" Chad asked as Rukia nodded, in awe of this mysterious man's power. "Didn't you say that you were looking for Ichigo?" "Oh yeah," Rukia exclaimed as she looked around the area. "Which way is the fastest way to the school?" "Come on, I'll show you," Chad answered as he picked up the bird cage and checked on the bird inside. "I was just about to go there anyway," Rukia nodded as she followed Chad into town. Meanwhile, near the school, Ichigo and Yuri were still engaged in a fierce battle. Ichigo had been severely wounded by Uryu's arrow attack, forcing the new Shinigami to tap into powers that he didn't even know that he had. As Ichigo's body glowed a glorious blue light, Ichigo pulled his sword from the ground, Uryu chuckling as he watched this desperate attempt to defeat him from Ichigo. Naruto could only watch as he watched Ichigo's soul pressure increase beyond anything that he had ever felt from any ordinary Soul Reaper. The only person I ever felt with this type of power, Naruto thought as his mind brought him back to his Shinigami Academy days. Flashback. As Naruto awoke the next day after spending a restless night thinking of what would be occurring in the next 2 days that would consist of him needing to take 2 days off of school for. His mind imagined many things, from training to torture. Which all of the torturing done by Soifan for some reason. As Naruto woke up, these were in his mind as Soifan entered the room. He blushed instantly as he spotted her, his mind traveling to many different places. "What are you looking at?" Soifan asked as she spotted the stupid expression on his face. "Anyway, time to get up. Master Yoruichi wants you on the training field immediately." Naruto nodded as Soifan exited the room and Naruto's head fell back upon his pillow. He closed his eyes and started to snore softly as he was suddenly sprayed in the face with what seemed like ice-cold water. Soifan stood over him, holding an empty bucket as she looked at him with a smile. "What the hell?" Naruto shouted as he looked at his drenched clothes. "Are you crazy or something?" Soifan didn't say anything as she dropped the bucket and slapped Naruto across the face, Naruto turning red as his hand reached for the area she slapped. "When you are given an order, you obey it without any question." Soifan spat as she pulled the covers of Naruto's body. "I told you to get up and report somewhere, and you fall back asleep? You will regret that dearly." "I'm already drenched with water and have a slap mark on my face, what else could you possibly do?" Naruto asked sarcastically. As these words slipped from his mouth, he instantly regretted them. Soifan didn't answer, a grin creeping onto her face as she pulled Naruto from bed. "You are going to find out exactly what I can do, Uzumaki Naruto," Soifan whispered in Naruto's ear, and she pushed him to the door. "Now move! I'm done babying you." As Soifan guided Naruto to the Squad 2 training field, many of the Shinigami of Squad 2 looked in surprise as they spotted Naruto walking with Soifan. "Doing a little babysitting, Soifan?" a Shinigami asked as Soifan shot him an angry look. He shut his mouth quickly as Soifan dragged Naruto to the field. Yoruichi stood there waiting, the field completely clear for some reason. "Good morning, Naruto," Yoruichi greeted as Naruto stepped foot on the field. "Welcome to your first day of official training." "Training?" Soifan shouted as she heard the words. "Is that what you wanted me to bring this urchin here for? No disrespect to you, Master Yoruichi, but this little idiot isn't worthy of your teachings. Are you perhaps jealous, Soifan?" Yoruichi teased as Soifan turned red. "Or do you possibly see Naruto as a threat?" "Neither of those are true, Master," Soifan answered as Yoruichi folded her arms across her chest. "Very good, then you won't mind being Naruto's training partner for the next 2 days he is here then," Yoruichi said as Soifan opened her mouth to protest. Then she closed her mouth, nodding in silence as Yoruichi chuckled. "Try not to look so upset, Soifan," Yoruichi said as Naruto looked at Soifan. "Naruto will prove to be a bigger challenge than you might expect. Besides, I have an eye for scouting talent, don't you think?" This lifted Soifan's spirits a bit, hearing her master regard her in such a way. She turned to Naruto and held her hand out, Naruto looking at it with surprise. "Since you are going to be a disciple of Master Yoruichi for the time being, we are teammates," Soifan muttered as she looked away. Naruto took her hand, Soifan and Naruto shaking hands as Naruto grinned broadly. "So I'm going to be training?" Naruto asked as Yoruichi nodded. "So what will I be doing?" "This will be non-stop, 24-hour training, Naruto," Yoruichi warned as Naruto nodded, beads of sweat dropping down his face as he nervously prepared for this. "Your first task for now will be to take on Soifan, no holding back." Soifan looked at Yoruichi in shock as she said this, Naruto turning and looking at Soifan. "Me versus him?" Soifan asked as Yoruichi nodded. Naruto nodded as he looked down at his hands and realized he had no sword to use. "I need a sword to use," Naruto said as he looked at Yoruichi. "If I could use a practice sword or something." "No sword, just your hands," Yoruichi said as she nodded at Soifan, who placed her sword on the ground. "Naruto, when you fight against an opponent, you will not always have the luxury of using your Zanpakuto. Sometimes your blade will be knocked away and you will find yourself unable to retrieve it. What do you do then? The best Shinigami must be prepared for anything, always ready on a moment's notice. Even if your sword is not in your grasp, with my training, you will be able to kill 100 hollows with your bare hands." "Well, not necessarily, but you get the idea. Now, Soifan, no holding back, anything, understand?" Soifan nodded as she got into a fighting position. Naruto did as well, Soifan disappearing before his very eyes. As she did, Naruto looked around quickly as he was kneed in the chest, Soifan behind him as he turned. She disappeared again, Naruto looking around in confusion as he held his arms out to strike. As Soifan appeared before him, he swung at her quickly, Soifan deflecting the punch with her left hand and using her right hand to punch Naruto in the jaw. She then kicked him in the chest and grabbed the collar of his shirt. She pulled him towards herself, and then slammed him to the ground. Naruto moaned as blood dripped from his mouth, Soifan stepping back to give Naruto a moment to get up. Naruto got up to his knees before Soifan appeared in front of him again and kicked him in the chin, Naruto screaming in pain as a stream of blood shot from his mouth. He wiped the blood that was dripping down his chin away as he got up from the ground and prepared to attack. Soifan snickered as she ran at him, Naruto not sure what to do. He froze for a second, Soifan slamming her fist into his chest as Naruto coughed up more blood. Yoruichi watched in silence as she analyzed Naruto's movement. His speed pathetic and his fighting style was horrible. Naruto pulled himself from the ground once more, only to be plowed back into it by Soifan. "Master, is this enough?" Soifan asked as she put her foot against Naruto's back, keeping him on the ground. "This is getting to just be a slaughterfest, so I would prefer to keep going." Soifan, Yoruichi interrupted as Soifan looked at her skeptically, but then nodded. Soifan took her foot of Naruto's back, Naruto getting up as he looked at Soifan angrily. Soifan snickered as Naruto angrily ran up at her and began to swing furiously. Soifan dodged the attacks easily, swaying gracefully as Naruto swung clumsily. She then caught Naruto's fist in midair, Naruto looking with widened eyes as he was kicked in the chest and pushed to the ground. Naruto remained on the ground for a moment, wishing for some of the strength that had helped him defeat the Shinigami that had tried to hurt Rukia and the two children. Naruto lay there with blood dripping from his mouth as he wearily tried to get up. He succeeded, Soifan looking at this child with admiration. Even though he stood no chance, he continued to get up and take the attacks. Soifan looked at Yoruichi once again, who nodded at her to continue. Soifan nodded back as she reluctantly rushed at Naruto and elbowed him in the back as he tried to get up, Naruto slamming into the ground. As the dirt from the ground went into his mouth, Naruto felt like not getting back up. His mind kept saying stay down, but he felt that he just couldn't do that. "It sounds like you could use a bit of my power, Naruto," a voice muttered inside Naruto's mind as Naruto looked around in surprise. "Who said that?" Naruto said aloud as Soifan and Yoruichi looked down at him in confusion. "What do you want from me?" "Naruto, why do I still remain in the depths of your soul?" the voice asked as Naruto didn't say anything. "Why don't you truly unleash my strength? Don't you know who I am? I have been reborn as your blade, Naruto. But I still hold all of our power. Unleash it, Naruto. Cut this foolish girl down to pieces as we return to full power once again." "I would never hurt her like that," Naruto screamed as the voice chuckled. "Your past self would, Naruto," the voice lied. "We will not go into details now, this is not the time nor the place. But the next time we meet, scum, you better summon me and know my name. For now I will indulge you and give you a bit of power to crush this rodent girl." As the voice said this, Naruto was suddenly overcome with a glorious red aura, his body feeling completely energized. Soifan gasped as Yoruichi smiled broadly. "As I expected, his Zanpakuto within him lends him power after sensing that he is in danger," Yoruichi thought as she watched Naruto's soul pressure increase drastically. With this type of ability, his sword must be extremely powerful. Everyone was able to sense his soul pressure that day he was fighting in Area 78. With that type of power, he could do anything, and that means he could also be turned into a rogue. "I must stop that from occurring at all costs." Soifan rushed at him and punched him directly in the face as Naruto withstood the attack, not even flinching as he looked up at Soifan. The entire squad too had gathered around now, watching in awe as Naruto grabbed Soifan's arm and slammed her into the ground. Soifan gasped as Naruto then grabbed her arm once more and tossed her to the side of him. Soifan decided to stop playing around, flash stepping as her foot touched the ground. She slammed her fist into Naruto's chin, Naruto withstanding the attack once more, as she continued to hit him across his body using her speed. Naruto snickered before he caught one of Soifan's attacks in midair and looked her directly in the eye. He then tossed her into the air, as he jumped up as well and collided his fist into Soifan's face. Soifan went crashing into the ground, sliding down the dirt violently as she winced in pain. Her face was bleeding now, some of the subordinates gasping in surprise. "May I go all out, Master Yoruichi?" Soifan asked as her body began to glow a white aura. Yoruichi nodded as Soifan prepared to use her Shunpa abilities. Naruto watched in surprise as he was bombarded by a barrage of high-powered attacks, not able to dodge as Soifan attacked him relentlessly without any mercy. Naruto took the attacks, not really being affected by them that much. The red aura was healing his body as he was being attacked, so most of the attacks were doing minimal damage. Soifan realized this, growling angrily as she attacked. Naruto looked at her with a blank expression as he held out his hand. As he did, a ball of purely concentrated energy appeared in his palm. As Soifan ran at him, she stopped in shock as the ball was thrown at her. Soifan didn't react quick enough to dodge, the ball enveloping her in a red light as it exploded. "And no," Soifan stuttered as she looked down at her charred clothes and fell to her knees. I wasn't expecting this to occur. Naruto grinned, letting the power completely take over him. He walked up to her, holding out his hand as another ball of energy appeared in his palm. Soifan held her arm as she looked up in surprise, Naruto not holding anything back. Yoruichi Flash stepped in front of Naruto and grabbed his arm as he prepared to shoot the ball. This match is over, Yoruichi announced as Naruto looked at her angrily. His eyes were a blood-red color, a small slit in the middle of them. Yoruichi seen this, looking at him with widened eyes as he closed his eyes and passed out. Those eyes, Yoruichi muttered as she looked down at Naruto. Was that the influence of his Zanpakuto? As she contemplated this, Soifan pulled herself from the ground in embarrassment. Master, I failed, Soifan murmured as Yoruichi looked at her with a smile. I allowed a child to defeat me in battle. You shouldn't hide your feelings, Soifan, Yoruichi said as she patted Soifan on the back. You were excellent, but you were faced with a difficult opponent that I told you not to hold back on from the beginning. But don't worry about that. You and Naruto will have plenty of more times to train because I'm taking him on as my second apprentice. You as my first will also help him as well. Soifan, I want you to watch him as he grows up. There might be a time where I will not lead this squad and it will be up to you to fulfill my duties as captain. I want you to promise me that you will watch him, understand? Soifan looked down at Naruto, who was snoring slightly with a small smile. She felt a bit of jealousy, wanting to know why Yoruichi had such interest in this child. She felt honored that Yoruichi would want her to lead this team after she was not captain. But she also felt something different, something that kind of surprised her at a point. It was anger or anything, maybe respect for the boy. The boy had defeated her, this display of power, well, kind of making her think differently of him. He was able to gain Yoruichi's approval and now he was going to be her second apprentice. Soifan turned to Yoruichi and nodded. I will, but I don't trust this kid, Soifan answered as Yoruichi looked at her with a knowing smile. His next challenge will be his greatest one yet, Yoruichi commented as she looked down at the sleeping Naruto. He will learn the art of Shunpa and face off against the boy that is destined to become his eternal rival. Naruto looked up as he heard Ichigo give out a battle scream, Ichigo running at Yuryu with no holds barred. Yuryu grinned as he shot his arrows at Ichigo as he ran at him, Ichigo dodging them as they went at him. He swung mightily at Yuryu ducking away as Ichigo continued to swing. Yuryu was getting bombarded, not expecting Ichigo to go on the offensive like this. He jumped back as he shot an arrow at Ichigo's forehead, Ichigo using his sword to deflect it before he dropped his sword and jumped at Yuryu. Yuryu looked in shock as he was punched in the jaw, Ichigo knocking him to the ground. Yuryu shook himself as he pulled himself from the ground, picking up his glasses that had been knocked off his face and putting them back on. Okay, so you are good, Yuryu said as a smile crawled onto his face. How about we see how good you really are then? As Yuryu said this, he pulled a pill-like item from his pocket and showed this to Ichigo. If I break this tablet, this will unleash countless hollows into this area, Yuryu explained as Naruto looked at him with widened eyes. Why would you want to do something as foolish as that? Naruto shouted as Yuryu. It's quite simple really, Yuryu answered as he looked at the item in his palm. To prove to you that Quincy's are better than Shinigami. Now then, Yuryu crushed the tablet in his palm, dropping the remains to the ground. Whoever has more hollow kills wins Soul Reapers, Yuryu announced as he walked away. And please don't cheat. I will know if you do anyway, Yuryu chuckled to himself as he walked away, Rukia and Chad coming up from the side of him. What's going on here, guys? Rukia asked as the ground began to shake as if an earthquake was coming. Oh, Naruto muttered as he looked up in the sky turning black. This might be annoying. Naruto is going to face off against hollows. The hollow killing fun begins next chapter. Had to give you guys 2 chapters since I haven't been able to update for so long. But don't think I would forget about ya. I'll be back ASAP, and now for the list of the current Gotei 13 as of right now. The reason I am doing this because you might notice some of the names are different, smiley face, some of them are very familiar Naruto characters that have died and been brought into the Soul Society. Please tell me if there is any people you would like to see a lieutenant, or maybe even a captain. Even a 3rd seat as well. 1st Division. Shigakuni Yamamoto Genryosai, Captain. Chojiro Sasakaibe, Lieutenant. 2nd Division. Soifan, Captain. Niji Hyuga, Lieutenant. Hinata Hyuga, 3rd seat. 3rd Division. Jinikimaru, Captain. Itachi Uchiha, Lieutenant. 4th Division. Retsu Unohana, Captain. Sakura Haruno, Lieutenant. Isane Kotetsu, former Lieutenant, now 3rd seat. 5th Division. Sosuke Aizen, Captain. Momo Hinamori, Lieutenant. 6th Division. Byakuya Kachiki, Captain. Sasuke Uchiha, Lieutenant, former 3rd seat and former 5th seat of Squad 5. Renji Aburai was challenged by Sasuke Uchiha for his place as lieutenant and was defeated. Now 3rd seat. 7th Division. Sajin Kamamura, Captain. Tetsuzima Iba, Lieutenant. 8th Division. Shunsui Kairaku, Captain. Shikamaru Nara, Lieutenant. 9th Division. Kenin Tozen, Captain. Shuhei Hisejai, Lieutenant. 10th Division. Toshiro Hitsugaya, Captain. Ranjuku Matsumoto, Lieutenant. Naruto Uzumaki, 3rd seat. 11th Division. Kenpachi Zaraki, Captain. Yuichiro Kusajishi, Lieutenant. 12th Division. Mayuri Kuratsuchi, Captain. Nimyu Kuratsuchi, Lieutenant. 13th Division. Joshiro Yukite, Captain. Gaara, Lieutenant after defeating former Lieutenant. Rukia Kuchiki, unseated. As the sky turned an inky black, a gaping hole was forming in the sky. In the bowels of that hole were hollows, seemingly hundreds of them flying from inside the hole, onto the soil of Karakura town. Naruto grimaced slightly as he and Ichigo exchanged looks, Rukia gasping as she watched the hollow rain upon the earth. A few blocks ahead, Uryu stood solo, pointing his bow at the sky as the hollows edged near. With precise aiming, he began to shoot the hollows directly in the head, piercing and destroying them as they rained down. From so far away, Ichigo spotted the blue arrows piercing through many of the hollows, pulling ahead as Rukia and Naruto looked at him with surprise. Rukia opened her mouth to protest until Naruto took off in the same direction, Rukia silencing herself as she and Chad followed steadily. As they reached what was the touchdown point for the hollows to land, Rukia pulled out her glove as she pulled it onto her hand. Naruto turned as Rukia slapped her hand into his chin, Naruto's Shinigami form dispersing from the body. Naruto took valiantly as he looked up at the incoming hollows and unsheathed his blade. With quick movement, he went into the air and began to cut away at the hollows howling in pain as their heads were sliced off cleanly, Naruto's blade killing these foes easily. Ichigo followed suit, cutting the hollows as they came to the ground, the white and blur arrows still taking out quite a few of them. "Hey new girl, what happened to Ichigo and Naruto?" Chad asked as Rukia didn't hear him. Too busy looking into the sky and watching the two boys take on the hollows. Naruto was killing a steady pace of 10 per second, Ichigo killing at least 5 per minute, Uryu killing 20 per second. The numbers were declining quickly, Naruto and Ichigo nowhere near killing as many as Uryu was. Naruto growled as he realized this, stepping up his speed a notch as the hollows went down to the final 10. But even though it seemed as if it was the final hollows, a giant hand appeared from the hole in the sky, a tremendous scream being heard from the hole. Naruto and Ichigo looked up as an overgrown hollow climbed from the hole, landing in front of Ichigo and Naruto. Naruto gasped as he realized what this breed of hollow was, Chad and Ichigo both looking confused as hell. "Naruto, is that a Minos?" Rukia choked out slowly as Naruto nodded just as slowly, looking up into the air with widened eyes. "I have actually never combated a Minos before," Naruto muttered as Ichigo looked at him with a surprised expression. "What the hell is a Minos?" Ichigo asked as Naruto pointed to it. "A big-ass hollow that is stronger than the others," Naruto replied with a grin, holding his sword out in front of him. "Let's see how powerful you really are then, Minos." Naruto raced at the Minos screaming as it lifted its foot and slammed it down upon Naruto. Naruto seemed to be crushed by the foot, no one seeing him move as the foot came crashing down. But it turned out to be a false prophecy, Naruto flashed stepping from the attack and appearing on the shoulders of the Minos. The Minos reached out for Naruto as Naruto took out a chunk of the Minos' neck, cutting it quickly as the Minos reached out. He jumped down as the Minos prepared to grab him, sliding down the Minos' body as he touched the ground. "So, are we going to step this up, Minos?" Naruto asked in an excited tone, happy to get such an interesting challenge. "I want this to be fun." As he said this, the Minos grabbed him, Naruto surprised at how fast it was able to do so. As the Minos squeezed him, Naruto let go of his sword as he screamed in pain, Ichigo jumping up at the beast as it continued to hurt the blonde hero. Ichigo was able to cut it, but only that due to not putting enough force into his swing. The Minos roared angrily, throwing down Naruto as it looked at Ichigo. As it prepared to touch Ichigo, an arrow flew at its hand, the Minos pulling its hand away. Yuri stood near Rukia, holding his bow up as he smiled valiantly. Soul Reapers are so pathetic, can't even kill a paltry Minos, Yuri said as he prepared another arrow. Watch how it is done, fools. He shot another arrow into the Minos, this time into its mask. The Minos roared as it went walking towards Yuri running back while shooting more arrows at the beast. But as he ran back, he tripped over a rock, making the boy trip and fall to his back. Yuri looked up in shock as the Minos lifted its foot and sent it flying down at Yuri. As this occurred, a young boy with wild red hair appeared next to Yuri, stepping in front of him holding a giant iron rod. As the Minos prepared to stomp down, the boy slammed the rod into the Minos' foot, making the Minos topple backwards. Naruto looked up as a hand was in front of him, someone offering to help him up. Mr. Urahara? Naruto asked as he spotted a black cat looking down at him as well. What's up with the cat and the kids? Kisuke smiled as the cat looked deeply into Naruto's eyes, Naruto looking back at it. Nothing much, Naruto, just came to lend a hand, Kisuke replied as he pulled Naruto to his feet, Naruto still looking down at the cat. Naruto, stop holding back, Naruto sworn he heard the cat whisper, the words so familiar to him. As beads of sweat dripped from Naruto's forehead, he looked up again as Soifan Flash stepped next to him. As she brought her hand down to attack him, Naruto rejected her attack by stopping her hand with his own. Naruto and Soifan began to exchange blows with lightning-fast speed, Yoruichi looking at Naruto with satisfaction as he was able to keep up with Soifan. It had been a year since Yoruichi had bestowed Naruto with the honor of becoming her second apprentice, Naruto having to balance training with Yoruichi and school at the same time. He barely had any time to himself, either training with Soifan or Yoruichi or at school learning how to become a Shinigami. He had been avoiding Sasuke for the entire year under Yoruichi's order, Yoruichi telling him that the time will come where you will settle things with him in a mysterious voice every time Naruto asked why. Naruto had shown true improvement in all aspects of his training, almost mastering Shuinpa and his speed almost equal to Soifan. With this type of improvement in such a short time, Yoruichi knew that Naruto wasn't any ordinary child. As Naruto continued his mock battle with Soifan, Soifan was even being to tire out as she tried to keep her speed up with Naruto. Naruto grinned as he dodged one of Soifan's punches and delivered a devastating right hook to Soifan's jaw, pushing her to the ground. Yoruichi clapped lightly as she stepped onto the battlefield, Naruto helping Soifan from the ground as she dusted herself off. Good match, Naruto, Soifan said in a strangely cheerful way, holding out her hand as Naruto looked back at he, stunned. He took her hand and shook it, a smile crossing Yoruichi's face. Would you want to go get some ramen with me tonight perhaps, Soifan? Naruto asked as Soifan looked back at him, shocked. If you don't want to, that's totally cool. I'll just go ask someone else. No, I'll go, Soifan interrupted as Naruto grinned. Cool, I'll come back later then, Naruto replied as he picked up his training items and shoved them into a bag. Okay, see you later, sensei. You too, Soifan. Naruto rushed away to class, leaving Soifan blushing slightly and Yoruichi looking at her with a smile. Later that day, as Naruto returned back to the Squad 2 training ground, he was surprised to see that something was going on. People were running around, causing a muck as they seemingly searched for something. Naruto walked around in shock as he looked for Soifan or Yoruichi. He stopped as he seen one of the members of Squad 2, opening his mouth to speak. He was pushed away and ignored by the member, Naruto angrily looking back as the man ran away. He went to near the captain's quarters, hoping to find Yoruichi residing there. Instead, he was suddenly grabbed and turned around. Behind him stood Aizen Sasuke, Sasuke Uchiha standing next to him. What are you doing here, Naruto? Aizen asked skeptically as he looked at Naruto, his eyes analyzing the young warrior. This is only an area froze Shinigami at this time, we are under red alert. So why is Sasuke here? Naruto asked as he quickly ignored that. Anyway, my sensei is here and I need to start my training, so that is why I'm here. Who is your sensei? Sasuke asked with a superior grin as Naruto smiled. Yoruichi Shihoin, Naruto answered proudly as an unhappy look appeared on Aizen's face for a quick second. It quickly disappeared as Naruto looked up at him, Aizen looking back at Naruto with a sad smile. He patted Naruto's head as he prepared to speak. Suddenly, Naruto was pulled away, the person running quickly as they dragged Naruto away. As the person pulled Naruto against the wall, Naruto found out it was none other than Soifan. Soifan, what is? Naruto asked as Soifan unsheathed her sword and held it up to his throat. Did you betray Master Yoruichi? Soifan asked with poison as Naruto looked back at her with widened eyes. I know that someone had something to do with this, Master Yoruichi would never do something like she is being accused of. I think she is being framed, and I think that it is you that did it. You and Aizen seem a little too close. I barely know Aizen and why would I betray Sensei for? Naruto shot back as Soifan looked at him skeptically. I think that after all of that training we did together and all the time we spent around each other, you should have enough sense to know who I am. Soifan didn't answer immediately, looking away as she thought about exactly what Naruto just spoke of. Her mind drifted back to the days of her and Naruto sparring, the thrill of having an opponent that could almost match her. But she shook that off as she looked back at Naruto with a disgusted glance. I know that you are a traitor, Uzumaki Naruto. I will never trust you. Soifan screamed as she prepared to attack, a butt of a sword hitting her in the back of her head. Soifan looked back with widened eyes before she crumbled to the ground, Aizen and Sasuke standing behind her. Aizen sheathed his sword as he nodded to Sasuke to pick up Soifan. Naruto watched with surprise as Sasuke carried Soifan away, Aizen looking down at Naruto with a pleased grin. Well, Naruto, it seems that your former master is wanted for treason against the Soul Society, Aizen said as Naruto gasped. I'm afraid that you no longer have someone to teach you well, besides someone else I know. As the active captain of my squad, I would like to offer you the position of my second apprentice. I will guarantee you a seated position on my squad if you do. You are the one who betrayed Master Yoruichi, Naruto suddenly choked out as Aizen looked at him in surprise. It was you, wasn't it? Sensei would never do anything wrong, you probably set her up. Aizen chuckled softly at this, not expecting this child to pick up on this so quickly. Let's just hope that these fools are more stupid than this child is, Aizen thought as he stared at Naruto. Naruto pulled himself from the wall, Sasuke returning and standing side by side with Naruto. Sasuke, how would you like to become a lieutenant? Aizen asked coolly as Sasuke looked up at him with shock. Kill this boy and I promise you this position. With those words spoke, Sasuke chuckled, walking past Aizen as he looked at Naruto. Sasuke, you are not like this, don't listen to him. Naruto shouted as Sasuke looked down at the ground. I have to be better than him, Sasuke muttered softly as Naruto looked at him with confusion. My brother, he was always better than me. Everything he did he always excelled in, never failing like I did. He never had hardships, he always found a way to win. He was entered into Shinigami Academy by the time he was 10, graduated at 16, and is now a third seat holder. He was always better, but now I get my chance to shine. I will surpass you, Itachi. As Sasuke uttered these words, he looked up with a bloodthirsty grin before he viciously struck Naruto in the jaw, blood flying from Naruto's mouth as the punch connected. Sasuke kicked Naruto in the chest, following up with a sweep kick, Naruto falling to the ground. As Sasuke prepared to strike once again, Naruto flash-stepped from the attack, Naruto appearing behind Sasuke. Naruto pulled Sasuke into a quick choke hold, Sasuke struggling as he tried to get free. He pulled Naruto off him by pushing him over his shoulders, Naruto jumping down and sliding back quickly. Naruto, I will propose an offer for you, Aizen suddenly said, Sasuke not moving as Aizen spoke. Join me and we shall build upon this broken and shattered world. Together, with your power we can create something wonderful. Naruto shook his head no, refusing to accept Aizen's offer. Such a fool, Sasuke muttered as he grinned at Naruto. Tough luck, loser. Naruto could only watch as Aizen himself slammed the back of his sword into Naruto's chest, Naruto falling to the ground in pain as he held his stomach. Where did you place Soifan? Aizen asked Sasuke as Sasuke turned to him. I handed her off to Jin after carrying her away, Sasuke replied as Aizen nodded in response. Good, we shall wipe her memories of suspecting me and of this child, Aizen muttered as he looked down at Naruto. We shall take him and convert him into a chosen one. Why bestow such an honor like this on him? Sasuke asked as Aizen chuckled softly. This boy has a Zanpakuto that will likely corrupt him one day, Aizen explained as he sheathed his sword. His sword holds such immense power that it will likely overwhelm the boy and make him lose his mind. I shall then take him under my wing, making him my most dangerous weapon. He will be one of my most perfect creations. Sasuke nodded as he began to wonder if this was going too far. But the image of his brother in his mind stiffened any doubts that Sasuke had. Instead it filled him with determination, the will to do anything for power. Anything to pass his protege brother. He only watched in silence as Naruto was removed from the battlefield and taken into a secret area, where parts of his memories, those that included Soifan and his sword talking to him, were removed. And then, everything went black. A/N, the series within a series, Naruto, Shinigami School will be concluding after the next chapter. Other unanswered questions about Naruto's past will be revealed later in the chapters. Naruto's mind continued to remember forbidden images, things that he could not truly contemplate. These images were confusing him greatly, the images disappearing as they appeared. Naruto had no choice but to shake them off and get back into the game. He shook of the sensation he was feeling as he returned his focus to the Minos. It was being neutralized by the two kids Kasuke had brought with him, Tensai also giving them a hand. Ichigo also was doing quite well, taking out most of the Minos as Yuri gave a hand with his arrows. Naruto, what happened to you there? Kisuke suddenly asked as Naruto turned and faced him. You were seemingly in a daze for quite a while. Did something happen to you? Naruto nodded without thinking, Kisuke looking down at the black cat that sat next to him. I was seeing things that weren't meant for me to see, Naruto replied as he looked up at Kisuke with a blank expression. Things that were uncovering parts of my past that I had completely forgotten, and I don't think it was by accident either. Are you saying that you think somebody erased your memories? Kisuke asked as Naruto nodded slowly. Either that or there is something wrong with my brain, Naruto muttered as Kisuke once again looked at the black cat. He then looked up at Kisuke as another memory rushed into his mind. You were once a Shinigami, weren't you? Naruto asked suddenly as Kisuke smiled, chuckling softly. Well, I guess Yoruichi was right about you, Kisuke replied as he patted Naruto on the back. You definitely are quite the gifted individual. Yoruichi, my sensei, right? Naruto asked as Kisuke nodded with a confused look on his face. Was I her first apprentice? No, you were her second apprentice, Naruto, Kisuke responded as Naruto looked down on the ground. Don't you know who was her first? Naruto shook his head no as he remembered Soifan and him training. Was it Soifan? Kisuke patted Naruto on the back as he straightened his hat and looked at him with a kind smile. Naruto, I want you to come up to my shop later, Kisuke said as he turned around. Everything will be explained to you, but come alone. The others are not ready to hear all of this just yet. Naruto nodded as he watched Kisuke and the black cat walk away, the cat following him as Kisuke seemingly whispered something to it. Naruto could have sworn that he seen the cat nod, but Naruto just pushed it off as being tired. He turned back to the battle and jumped in immediately, Ichigo and the others watching in surprise. Naruto unsheathed his sword and cut the Minos from the top of its head down to its legs. Ichigo and everyone cheered as Naruto walked away from the towering Minos in style, sheathing his blade as the Minos fell to the ground and disappeared. Way to go, new guy! One of the kids that Kisuke brought shouted as he ran up to Naruto. So, what's your name, stranger? Uzumaki Naruto, Naruto answered as he grinned broadly. I'm Hankari Jinta and this is Tsumuji Yururu, the boy said as he pointed to a girl next to him that was waving shyly at Naruto. So, you coming back to us to the shop, right? Naruto nodded as Rukia and Ichigo walked up behind him and looked at him with surprise. What are you going to Urahara's shop for? Rukia asked a little too suspiciously, looking up at Naruto. We should probably get Ichigo a little more training. You are gonna have to take it from here, Rukia, Naruto answered as he followed Jinta, Yururu, and Tensai. I'll be back around later, so try not to get into any trouble without me, Rukia. Oh, I'll try really hard, Rukia replied sarcastically as she smiled, watching Naruto leave with the Urahara gang. Ichigo smiled at her knowingly as Rukia looked at him with an annoyed glance. When are you going to tell Naruto that you like him? Ichigo asked as Rukia walked past him, not saying a word. You know, I doubt he will be available forever. Shut the hell up, Ichigo, Rukia replied as she continued to walk ahead. Now are you coming or not? As Naruto reached the Urahara shop, he was surprised to see Kisuke already waiting for him at the door. Kisuke ushered Naruto in the shop as they went down to what seemed as if it was a secret area. As they went into the secret area, something was glowing brightly, as if it was the sun. Wow, who would have expected such a huge training ground would have been here? Kisuke asked as Naruto shook his head. Anyway, welcome to the area. There is someone, Uzumaki Naruto, a male's voice said as Naruto looked around the area. Who's there? Naruto asked as he looked around the area. Down here, the voice said as Naruto looked down and spotted the black cat from earlier. Hello, Naruto, it's been a long time. Why the hell is that cat talking? Naruto shouted as he backed away from the cat. What the hell is this? Maybe I should go back to my true form, the cat muttered as he began to grow. Naruto watched in shock as the cat grew into his master Yoruichi. She was also standing there but naked, Naruto unable to look away as his nose bleeds slightly. Naruto stuttered as he pointed to his master's body, Yoruichi not even seemingly paying attention to this fact. Naruto, so how have you been? Yoruichi asked as Naruto continued to not even hear a word that she said. Here you go, Yoruichi, Kisuke said as he handed her some articles of clothing, Yoruichi putting them on as Naruto shook himself out of a daze. Sensei, it has been a while, Naruto said as he bowed with respect. What are you doing here in Karakura town? And why were you a cat? All these things will be explained in due time, Naruto, Yoruichi replied as she looked at Naruto seriously. Now Naruto, what do you remember about the time during your training? I remember learning Shunpa from you, and Naruto began as his head began to throb terribly, his mind going blank for a second. His mind has been wiped, Kisuke stated as he watched Naruto's expression. It makes sense, He must have figured out who it was that framed me and tried to stop him. So what do we do, Kasuke? Yoruichi asked as Kasuke shook his head, not knowing what to say. We need to infiltrate the Soul Society and uncover the truth about this entire situation, Kasuke responded as Yoruichi nodded in agreement. But that is a lot easier said than done. Even with our current numbers, we are nowhere near even remotely capable of entering the Soul Society and pointing fingers at anyone without getting captured. What do you mean? Naruto asked as he looked up at Kasuke, his head still throbbing in pain. You have a member of the Soul Society right next to you. I don't know what is going on, but I will help Sensei no matter what. I'm willing to help in any way I possibly can. Naruto, I cannot allow you as your master to do such a task for me, Yoruichi stated as she patted him on the back. This is something that will have to be decided by me and Kasuke. I get no respect, Naruto interrupted as Yoruichi and Kasuke looked at him in surprise. I'm on a mission like this and I'm the third seat of Squad 10 and I'm protecting a town from hollows. As much as I like working with Rukia, I'm not trusted nor respected for some unknown reason. I'm treated like I'm evil, and the only time I didn't feel this way was when I trained with you, Sensei. I'm sick of being second banana to all of these other Soul Reapers when I'm just as good as they are. Yoruichi and Kasuke listened to Naruto's rant, Yoruichi seeing that the young boy that she had trained had become a man. He was a frustrated one, but his morals were in the right direction. Even though he hated all of this, he still did his job without any comments or complaints. Well, this might mean that you will need to betray the Soul Society to save it, Kasuke warned as Yoruichi looked at him in surprise. Right now, we will operate in secret. We need to investigate more, and I think the perfect time for that will come soon. For now, do nothing unless I tell you, Naruto. You cannot repeat this to anyone, not even Rukia, but in order to even stand a chance against the challenges that will be coming, you will have to achieve your Bankai. You want me to do Bankai training? Naruto asked as Kasuke nodded. We will begin tomorrow night. Me and Yoruichi will help you achieve your Bankai, Kasuke answered as Naruto's eyes widened. Hopefully, this will prove useful in the difficult times that will be ahead, but for now, do your job in peace. Protect this town and don't worry about what we talked about tonight. We still have plenty of time before anything will occur. Naruto nodded as he looked around and realized it was probably dark outside. Sorry, gotta go, I'll be back tomorrow, Naruto shouted as he rushed away, running up the stairs to outside of the shop. Are you sure about this, Kasuke? Yoruichi said as Kasuke nodded. Naruto possesses a sword that has tremendous amount of strength within it, Kasuke explained as he looked up at the ceiling. If he was able to master that Zanpakuto, he will be almost unstoppable. With your training and the training I could give him, he could become one of the strongest Soul Reapers in existence. Only thing, to master his Bankai, he must go face to face with his Zanpakuto spirit. And if I wasn't mistaken, you had told me that it might be evil. So, it would be best for us to start now before something prohibits us from doing this at all. You know something, Kasuke, why aren't you telling me? Yoruichi asked as Kasuke smiled, looking at Yoruichi with his signature grin. Things are about to get rough is all I'm saying, Kasuke replied as he walked away towards the door. See you later. The Uchiha clan, one of the noble families within the Soul Society. To hold the name of one of these noble families was an honor with itself, an honor that only the most noble could be bestowed. After the head of the clan, Uchiha Fugaku, was killed in battle, the title was passed on to the next in line, Uchiha Itachi, who unwillingly at first accepted the title. The great Uchiha clan was fading, most of the noblemen from this family meeting their demise long ago. Only two known Uchiha remained, Uchiha Itachi and his younger brother, Uchiha Sasuke. Uchiha Sasuke was a different case, his mind completely locked on becoming stronger than his brother, who was admitted into the Shinigami Academy at the age of 8, his admittance being approved by Shigekuni Yamamoto Genryusai himself. After witnessing the child's spiritual pressure himself, he immediately ordered that Itachi be placed within the academy. This was the beginning of Itachi's achievements, even going as far as achieving Sharingan, the secret technique that was passed down upon all Uchiha. This technique allowed the user to completely analyze any spiritual pressure, making it so they could have complete control over their own. The Sharingan also had many other abilities that were unknown at the time, unknown by most Uchihas. Sasuke wasn't as lucky as Itachi, his spiritual pressure wasn't as impressive, he wasn't able to access the Sharingan yet, and his mind was on genius level like Itachi. Itachi was on the way to becoming a captain, while Sasuke found himself on the way to being an unseated officer. This wasn't exactly the place Sasuke wanted to be, finding himself hungry to become better than Itachi. With these thoughts in his mind, Sasuke escaped from his privileged life, going into what was considered the jungle, the 80th district. For years he stayed within this place, and after teaming up with one man, he became a legend. As the crowd around Sasuke increased in size, the blood that was flying through the air like hail did as well. Within this circle of people was Uchiha Sasuke and Zaraki Kenpachi, fighting back to back as usual. Sasuke had met up with this legend within the third day he was in this hellhole, finding himself being cornered by over 6 men. As Sasuke found himself backed into a corner by the men, Kenpachi had finally intervened, killing each of these men with no regret. After that day, Sasuke traveled around the 80th district with Kenpachi, which he found out was like painting a large target upon his own forehead. Everyone wanted to kill this guy, and by Sasuke traveling with him, it turns out that they wanted him dead now as well. It truly didn't matter, Sasuke enjoying his time with Kenpachi. As the crowd increased, Sasuke and Kenpachi found themselves fighting over 20 men, Sasuke and Kenpachi going back and forth with killing these idiots. They both wielded ordinary blades, using these to dismember the fools. Sasuke turned as another man came lunging at him with a knife in his palm, Sasuke grabbing his wrist and slamming him into the ground. The knife fell to the ground as Sasuke kicked it to the side and slammed his blade into the man's chest. He turned as another man ran at him and slashed at his throat with a sword, Sasuke dodging the attack and cutting the man's entire arm off with one quick movement. Blood flew all over Sasuke's clothes as the man screamed before him, holding his bleeding. With no words, Sasuke lobbed the man's head off, Kenpachi snickering as he witnessed this. "Sasuke, you are getting better at this," Kenpachi commented as he slammed his long blade into 2 men that came running at him, the blade going through both men's chests. Kenpachi pulled out his blade out and grinned as the blood dripped from it. "Hey, when you are learning from the best, you pick up some tricks," Sasuke exclaimed as he cut the legs off one man that came running at him, the man falling before him. Sasuke gave him no mercy as the man crawled towards him, Sasuke chuckling before he slammed his sword into the man's forehead. This was the end of the wave of men, all of them dead at Sasuke and Kenpachi's feet. "Sasuke, not bad at all," Kenpachi said as he observed the bodies around them. "Alright, let's go find us some food and get the hell out of here." Sasuke nodded as he followed Kenpachi, smiling as the crowd disbanded to allow the 2 warriors through. This was the normal routine, Sasuke and Kenpachi killing men and then leaving nonchalantly to get something to eat later. "So kid, how are you liking the 80th district?" Kenpachi asked as he bit down on what looked like a piece of fruit. "Can't say it would be as cushy as the homes the noble families live in, but it's somewhere to rest your head, right?" "I've been here for over 6 months, and I got to say, this place lives up to the rumors 100%, Sasuke replied as he took a bite of his fruit. "With this type of intense fighting on a daily basis, becoming stronger will be too easy. You can't always rely on these idiots to give you a challenge," Kenpachi said as he looked at the gangs of men walking nearby. "These chumps aren't worth much, not even worth being called warm-ups. If you want real training, kid, I can beat it into you. Trust me, when I'm done, you will be able to kill hundreds of these men without even batting an eye." Sasuke looked at Kenpachi with widened eyes as his mind registered what Kenpachi just said. This was the training he wanted, the training that would allow him to finally surpass Itachi. With this type of intense training, he would be able to crush any adversary that crossed his path. Sasuke nodded as Kenpachi grinned his wild grin, swallowing the rest of his fruit and chucking the core off the roof they were sitting on top of. "Hey, who the hell dropped this shit on my head?" someone asked as they looked up at the roof menacingly. "These guys just don't get it, huh?" Sasuke asked as Kenpachi chuckled, jumping down from the roof and taking on the man. Sasuke knew this was where he would begin his legend. He spent over 4 years in the 80th district, managing to combine Kenpachi's wild style with his own Uchiha-style technique. So in other words, his fighting style was balanced and smooth, but wild and ferocious at the same time. Which turned out to be a deadly balance, Sasuke making a name for himself within the district. He was known as Sasuke of the Wind. His style was so quick and powerful that no one was able to match him. It was coming time that Sasuke considered himself eligible to enter the Shinigami Academy, knowing that he must return home in order to do this. But at the same time, Kenpachi had traveled to the 79th district, the second most violent area in the Soul Society. He had found a young girl there, who had taken quite the liking to him. So Sasuke set off back home, leaving Kenpachi and his new ally. "Sasuke, the next time we meet, I want you to fight me with no mercy," Kenpachi shouted as he watched Sasuke leave, Sasuke giving Kenpachi a grin as he traveled back. As the young Uchiha returned home, he could think of nothing more but to challenge his brother to a match, to see if he closed the gap that was between them. "Sasuke, you have returned," Itachi greeted as Sasuke walked through the front door. "It has been too long, little brother." "Itachi, fight me," Sasuke spit out as he looked at his brother with a devilish grin. "I want to see if my hard training was fruitful." Itachi looked up at Sasuke, holding on to what looked like a cup of tea. "Fine, we shall spar, Sasuke," Itachi finally replied after several minutes of looking at Sasuke. "But before we fight, allow me to ask you one question. Why would you go so far to try to defeat me, Sasuke?" "So you know where I have been for all these years," Sasuke muttered as Itachi flashed him a gentle smile. "I am your brother, of course I knew where you were," Itachi replied as he took another sip of his tea. "But to travel to the 80th district is almost suicide. But you managed to return, and your spiritual pressure has increased greatly. But Sasuke, it isn't enough. What? Sasuke asked as he looked at his brother with a bewildered look, not understanding what Itachi meant by this. But after Itachi showed him what he meant, Sasuke's mouth went as dry as tissue paper. Itachi's spiritual pressure was tremendous, much stronger than when Sasuke had left. It almost seemed beyond captain level, which made Sasuke gasp. Sasuke, I don't mean to be cruel, but you will never surpass me by just running away into some district and toughing it out. Itachi explained softly as Sasuke's hand shook uncontrollable. But I can teach you under my... I don't want your damn training. Sasuke interrupted as Itachi looked at him in surprise. You think you are so goddamn superior to me, Itachi, and I will crush you in my own way. With my own power, I don't need to use your pathetic ways to gain strength. I will defeat you. Itachi remained silent as he pulled himself from the table, pulling one of the practice swords from the corner. He tossed it to Sasuke before taking his own. Outside, the two noble brothers stared each other down, no words being spoken. Without any warning, Sasuke went charging at Itachi, Itachi dodging and appearing behind Sasuke. Sasuke gasped as he was kicked on the back, his sword flying from his hand as he was. Sasuke rolled as he touched the ground, retrieving his sword and looking up at Itachi with his Sharingan. I can see your future, Itachi, Sasuke muttered with a wicked grin as he pointed his sword at Itachi's face. I can see that you will be defeated by my own hands. Sasuke wildly attacked Itachi, only to be kicked in the chest this time. Sasuke went tumbling to the ground, blood rolling down his chin as he looked up at Itachi. He ran at Itachi again, this time more subtly. Itachi dodged his first swipe, watching as Sasuke used his own fighting style to fight. His was more subtle, and more stylish than the one that Kenpachi taught him to use. Itachi smiled as he dodged another slash from Sasuke, Sasuke trying to read Itachi's movements using the Sharingan. Itachi watched as Sasuke read one of his dodges and followed up with a quick kick to Sasuke's chest, which Sasuke was able to dodge. Itachi watched as Sasuke tried to lunge at him again, this time pointing his sword directly at Sasuke's chest. You can be read too easily, Itachi muttered as Sasuke looked up at him in shock. That might have worked on others, but it won't work on me. My own concept of fighting is to read my opponent's fighting style, and use it against them. To be able to have a counterattack for every attack they will or possibly might use. With that logic, Sasuke, you will never use a move that I cannot read. Especially if I am using the Sharingan, which I only use against someone that is truly pushing me to the limit. Sasuke fell to his knees, feeling completely helpless. He trained for years to accomplish this, and it was nothing compared to Itachi. As he felt his pride disperse, he heard a familiar voice within his mind. Get up, Sasuke! Kenpachi's voice shouted as Sasuke reminisced about sparring with Kenpachi. Sasuke was down, his whole body felt like it was on fire, and his own blood stained his clothing. Get up, Sasuke, or I will kill you! Kenpachi roared as he prepared to bring down his sword upon Sasuke, Sasuke looking up at him with fear. Kenpachi brought his sword down, Sasuke closing his eyes as he thought about Kenpachi killing him. But he didn't, Kenpachi had stopped, Sasuke opening his eyes and realizing this. So, you want to sit here and allow an opponent to get the better of you, huh? Kenpachi asked as Sasuke didn't answer, remaining silent. That is just cowardly, and I hate cowards. Cowards and quitters will amount to nothing, they will just be another number within the body pile. If you want to become a champion, you fight until you can't fight anymore. You fight until your body is dust. You never give in, no matter how hard the opponent seems. Now as Sasuke sat there, Kenpachi thrusted his sword into Sasuke's stomach, blood rolling down Sasuke's mouth as he winced in pain. Always remember that wound, for whenever you plan to give up, remember the pain I just inflicted upon you, Kenpachi said as Sasuke nodded, holding his stomach. Now as Sasuke looked up at Itachi, he felt the same pain that Kenpachi inflicted upon him that day. Master your skills, Sasuke, then challenge me again, Itachi murmured as he walked back to the house. No matter what, Sasuke, I will always be here for you. As your brother and a challenge to overcome, remember that. Sasuke looked back at Itachi walking away, a grin on his face. I guess I'll enter the academy, Sasuke muttered as he looked up at the sky, standing to his feet. I will defeat you, Itachi. Walks in cautiously. Hey guys, I'm back. I went on a mini vacation, took a little trip. Now I'm refreshed and ready to go. I'm out of college for a few months, so stories are about to come out like clockwork. So sorry for the wait, but I'm back and ready to go. Let's go back to the world of Naruto/Bleach. Shinigami of the Kyuubi will go back on schedule. I'm putting the Sasuke Chronicles on hold until a couple chapters until I get done with the new arc, which I call Bankai Training Arc. So get ready for the beginning of the arc right now. I do not own anything but the story. Reviews would be awesome. Also, more news on the harem, it will be getting eased into with these upcoming chapters. As the morning sunlight filled the sky around Karakura town, Naruto finally found himself heading back to Ichigo's house. He had spent the whole night traveling around the city and spending his very limited funds on ramen, drinks, and of course the occasional souvenir. He yawned softly as he looked at the morning sun, ready to crash out on Ichigo's couch for the morning. So Naruto, are you ready to begin your training? Kisuke asked as Naruto jumped in fear. Damn it, you had to scare the hell out of me? Naruto asked as he looked back at the shop owner with one eye closed. And what are you talking about ready to begin training? I'm not starting training now, am I? Yes you are, so get ready, Kisuke responded as he slammed his cane into Naruto's forehead. With this, Shinigami Naruto emerged from the Jigai, groaning as he rubbed his forehead in pain. I hate it when you and Rukia do that, Naruto moaned as he pulled himself to his feet. So, what will I be starting with today? More Shunpa training from Sensei? Or straight to the Bankai training? The art of combat runs deeper than just speed, Kisuke explained as he motioned for Naruto to follow him with his cane. Yoruichi taught you the basics of hand-to-hand combat and the art of Shunpa. The Shinigami Academy taught you the basic training regimen. I am going to train you in the art of the sword, which you sorely lack knowledge in. Even though you can handle your Zanpakuto well enough, you are not able to compete on the level of either captain nor even lieutenant at this time. Your spiritual pressure is quite the opposite of course, but you can have power without any style. Even with your Bankai, it would prove useless if you know nothing of how to properly use your Zanpakuto. So in order to master Bankai, I have to master the advanced art of the sword? Naruto asked as he followed Kisuke back to the Urahara's shop. But didn't I learn all of that when I was in the Shinigami Academy? What's wrong with the training I received there? This is just a waste of time. Can you just train me to use Bankai? The training that you received from the academy is still incomplete, Kisuke answered as he entered the shop, Naruto following him inside. But if you would like the chance to prove your training you received is enough, I would be happy to set up a quick sparring match between the two of us. Let's say if you win, we go straight into Bankai training. But if you lose, we do the training my way. Okay? Me and you, sparring against each other? Naruto asked as a grin formed on his face. Sounds like something I can finish before breakfast. Let's do this. Kisuke nodded as a small grin formed on his face. Heh, follow me then, Kisuke replied as he opened the door to the secret training facility. As the two stepped onto the training field, they were greeted by Tensai and Yoruichi in her cat form. Naruto only gave them a nod as he eagerly unsheathed his Zanpakuto, pointing it directly at Kisuke. Okay, enough chit-chat, let's do this old man, Naruto demanded as Kisuke only chuckled in response. Old man, huh? Kisuke asked as he unsheathed his sword from the cane he carried around. Well then, I hope you don't mind if I go all out here. I mean, I am facing a very difficult opponent. Go ahead, but it won't do you any good, Naruto replied with a grin. Besides, what are you going to do with that twig of a sword anyway? This should be quick. Naruto, you shouldn't underestimate your enemy so fiercely, Yoruichi commented as she watched the young Shinigami. This is the type of behavior that will get you killed. Let him do what he pleases, Tensai interrupted as he pushed his glasses up promptly. He will have to learn this in combat the hard way, obviously. Yoruichi nodded in agreement as Naruto snickered, getting into a fighting position. So let's say whoever falls first loses? Kisuke asked as Naruto glanced back at Yoruichi. This was the first time he had seen his sensei in quite a while, so he really wanted to show her how much he changed. How about first blood, if you're up for it of course, Naruto answered as Kisuke nodded, the grin on his face increasing in size. Sounds good to me, Kisuke answered in a low tone as his personality changed dramatically. The presence of his spiritual pressure was felt as Naruto's eyes widened in surprise. Naruto blinked twice as he closed his eyes and tried to regain his focus. He took a deep breath as he let his own spiritual pressure surface, the two spiritual pressures seemingly clashing in midair as Naruto and Kisuke stared each other down menacingly. Now awaken Benihana.